Well, hello everyone, and welcome to part two of this amazing Mushoku Tensei what discussion, I guess, where I'm watching through Mushoku Tensei for the second time after having now read the light novel and the web novel, and not the manga because I don't read that manga. And I'm here with Kyle Entertainment.
I'd call it more a debate than a discussion, you know. We're dealing with the big issues here. I hate this series. It's a piece of shit. It's for pedos and it's shit say. What was my title last time, EliteAri, you remember? Oh,
I don't
saying it
know.
a
You're
lot. It's pretty funny.
you're the one rewatching our videos,
Midshitu
right?
pedo say, that was the one.
No.
And that's what we're here to discuss today. EliteAri will be arguing for pedophilia.
My
I'll be
God.
arguing against it. Thank God this isn't monetized and you don't have to like blur the, what
Yeah,
do you
I got
call it?
nothing to
You
worry
don't
about.
blur sounds. You know what I mean.
Yep.
But yeah, we're here, I guess, or something.
Yes, we will be covering episodes 9 to 16 of the anime, which a trailer came out for season 2 the other day. It was really interesting.
No,
Yeah,
no shot.
it did, 9 to 16. Oh, yeah, it's coming out July 2nd, I think, by the way, season 2. Anyway, which covers episodes 9 to 16 of season 1, which covers volumes 3, 4, and like a tiny little bit of 5. I guess
Now,
that's
if
it. We
you're
don't
just
have to give
watching
any
this in an
spoilers or
audio
anything.
playlist and you
Yeah.
didn't see the pinned comment last time, Elite already said at the end of last episode that it was only going to be till episode 15. He then changed that after the fact because he's
Yeah.
indecisive and cowardly. So just for those people.
Yep. Well, did you kind of figure out why I went to 16 instead of 15 now? I don't
Yeah,
even.
because 16's the one about his video and he wanted to flex that on us.
Yeah, so 16 is a very famous episode of Mushoku Tensei, I would say. And I thought we should talk about the argument before we get a resolution to it, you know? Anyway, so yeah, should we
Huh.
just start then? I guess I don't know. There's three.
I
This
guess.
covers like three things. So we get like mainly the them arriving at the demon continent and the time they spend at Rikarisu. We get the time at Windport with Kishirika and Roxy and all that, and then we get the Doldia Village with the Beast People, and then obviously the argument with Paul and Millis. So yeah. So
Yeah,
generally,
Millis.
what's
Something.
going on? What do you think of these episodes? You were
Our
dreading it
overall
because of the
thoughts. Here
plot
we
and
go.
everything, with all these characters coming in at the end of
I
episode
was gonna
8.
bring that up, you fucking idiot.
Go
Shut
ahead,
up.
go ahead, go ahead.
Well, that was my second thing. Now it would be good for
You're
me to go
welcome.
there first, but I'm sticking with my first thing. I will say that the second to last, third to last, and fourth to last episode I watched in a row. EliteAri. I haven't watched an anime in a row like that in 27 years. I'm
Wow.
trying to think the last one I did. These Razafan episodes, boy, I was doing one every other day. I was looking at the thing to see how fucking far we were through the episode, and it was always 8 minutes in. Now, I liked that show. It was great. I'm sure on a rewatch, it'll be one of my favorite things ever. But it goes into what we were saying about Mushoku Tensei being very easy to watch. The time
Mm.
just goes by. You're like, there was parts where I was realizing now it's these reaction channels, and they sort of realize right before that the episode's about to end, usually with Attack on Titan, and they get mad. And I would be like, oh shit, this is like the last episode, the last scene of the episode. And I would realize it right before and be happy. I'm like, oh, I did finish another one. I'm so good at this fucking shit. That would happen multiple times. So I was like, opposite reaction to them, but it was a good indication, I think. Time's flying by. So that was pretty good. That was my first thing. So I had some. There was a bit of a gap. I think that was like a 3 or 4 day gap between because I watched a bunch of the beginning ones
Mhm.
soon together. I don't think I ever watched two at the same time. I know I did for the end of the last core of episodes, but if that's an indication, these must be the greatest episodes ever. I
Right.
honestly don't know if I like the first ones or the second ones better. Um, but besides that, last time I was doing a big thing where I thought this was a Steins Gate situation where people talk about Steins Gate. You just got to get through the first 12 episodes, then it gets good, guys. Now, this is obviously a cowardly take. People say a kind of similar thing about One Piece. Made a video about that one time. Pretty good video. Because I said that because I assumed the plot was picking up because we got a bunch of cool looking characters introduced and the big, strongest dude in the universe was seen in shadow for the first time. He saved the planet or something with his 12 disciples. Some
Yep.
bullshit we don't care about. Um, Actually, I want to talk about caring about that in a little
Cool.
bit, but we'll get to that. What was I up to? Oh, I was talking about how the plot didn't start EliteAri. What a red herring. We're just going to do dick all shit with fucking Eris and this other dude. Oh
Yep.
my god. Hold on, EliteAri. I can remember his name. Just give me a second here.
There's no way.
His nickname is Dead End, which they then
Oh
take
my god, look
into
at you.
their little thingy. And then there's It's Rugiad or something.
That's really close. That's close enough. Yeah, Rudyard is how I pronounce it, but you can say it however you want.
Yeah, but also Rudy's fake name. Remember when I didn't like that name and I was going to call him Rudius
Yep.
all the time,
Yep.
but I've fallen for it. Um, his fake name is something similar too, isn't it, or some shit? They're always confusing me with this.
Yeah, Rude Jerd, I think. Is that what you're saying? The fake one?
Yeah, fucking stupid. Come,
Yeah.
just Rudius, you fucking
Goddamn
moron.
Japanese. Yeah.
No, I was directing that at our white protagonist. I'm not racist.
Right.
The plot didn't start! Exclamation point is the end of my note there. That was fantastic. We only met one of them. It was the funny girl. Gave him an eye at one point. We're not up to that yet. EliteAri, stop fast tracking me.
Sorry.
This dumb sword dude that was really strong and fighting with Ghislaine.
Ghislaine, that's close enough. Yeah, I was just trying to think of who we were talking about. Either Manthe, yeah.
Yeah, this idiot, he didn't show up at all. We love that.
Yep.
There was another ominous dude who like screamed that he used his Conqueror's hockey. EliteAri understands the reference. He loves One Piece. On some fucking Tyrannosaurus Rexes, and they weren't actually Tyrannosaurus. They were flying ones. Were they even dinosaurs? They were dragons, weren't they?
They were the red dragons or red worms or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah, they call dragons worms sometimes. They got that from Fire and Blood.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that next year, EliteAri. No, this year when I make him read the book, chat. It's okay.
True.
But yeah, we didn't get any of that shit. So I was obviously stupid. EliteAri was kind of smirking in the background. I could hear it because I was just rewatching our episode a little bit. So yes, that was a funny thing. Continuing on this, just a completely pointless note that I put in the prescient is at some point we go through the magic rankings or whatever last episode, and I still don't remember them. Beginner into, I just heard you list them to me again because I was rewatching it.
Yep.
Beginner, intermediate. I don't know what the hard one is. Advanced.
Yeah, nice.
This is cheating because I did just hear it. I know Divine is the last one, or is Emperor the last one, or something. What's the other two? Or is there 6 in the end? King.
Okay, nice. Wait, say them in order of what you think right now.
Beginner, intermediate.
Yeah.
Advanced.
Yep. And then what did Rudy learn? Remember that one spell he did with Roxy?
Well, Roxy is king level. She says that in an episode.
No, she wasn't at the time. Okay. Beginner, intermediate, advanced, and then Saint. That was Cumulonimbus. That was a Saint class spell. And then King, which is like Ghislaine and now Roxy. And then I would say Emperor, but I'm not sure what they say in the anime. Maybe it's something else.
Divine.
And then also they would probably say Divine, but I say God because that's what they say in the light novel.
Divine's a cooler word than God. You're wrong.
It probably is. But the thing is, they also say like sword god and blah, blah, blah instead of divine sword or whatever. It's like I don't know.
Ugh. I wish I was a divine sword. Wait,
True.
That sounded like an innuendo. And I nearly wanted to say, if you smell what I'm cooking afterwards and say it all funny. But I didn't intend it at the beginning. But we don't care about authorial intent. That was an innuendo. Yeah. So yes, at some point we do this and I pivot into bringing up that recently while rereading Berserk. Haven't read a single Berserk chapter since we recorded that fucking thing, by the way. That's been flown out the window. But I say in that I looked up like the different ranks in medieval society and how there's like counts and then barons and then they're kings and then there's a king of kings and then emperors and the emperor of emperors and that's how the chart goes up. And I'm like, oh, that's just like emperor something because there was emperor something in this fucking nonsense Tensei show we're watching. And recently at a trivia event that I went to, there was a question, what is the female version of a baron or the lady of the baron? And I knew it was Baroness because of all of this. And I wouldn't have known it if I didn't reiterate it from looking it up for the Berserk thing and our previous episode. So clap for me, EliteAri. I sounded really smart in my group trivia thing.
See, there's some great things about anime. There you go.
Yes. Manga. Berserk. Not this show. This show sucks. Yeah. Now, do you want to chime in a little bit before I continue with my what did I call it? Prescient notes?
Yes. Your non-miscellaneous notes, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say, I guess in terms of my overall thoughts, I remember Firstly, I think I love this. Like, this show is easily going to be a 10 for me when I'm done, like putting it on my anime list. But I wasn't looking forward to this because I think I enjoyed this stuff less the first time I was watching, compared to the first stuff in this anime. But I like this a lot. I think I like this way better. I was engaged way more in these episodes, especially when we got to the Beast people, in the Doldia Village. I was dreading getting to that because I remember just finding that to be probably the least interesting stuff of this whole season. But I think that's become the most interesting stuff in this whole season.
Those are the 3 episodes I watched EliteAri.
Yeah, I really like it. And in terms of production, there was a massive step up, I think, from the first 8 to this. I couldn't believe it. Just every episode has so much detail in it and world building and stuff, and I'm sure we'll talk about that. It's crazy.
There is a bunch of fights that look pretty cool. Didn't think any of them were bad, like that one you liked from last time. But I do have, if we can scroll down, very unattentively. That's not the right word. Very badly. I'm doing a bad thing. That's the word I was looking for. We're going to go to miscellaneous notes now because we're not doing things by order. That's what I meant by bad.
All right.
And we'll go to this note down here that says our first bad CGI crowd shot all the way in episode 16. Millis in brackets. There are some shitty CGI crowd shots of people walking in the last episode we watched EliteAri. So actually the production sucks.
Right. You know what? I don't even remember that. I remember seeing a shot when they're first looking at Millis and you see the people walking. Yeah. I didn't think that was CGI. I thought that was just people. They tricked me.
No. They filmed real life people and put them in EliteAri? What are you, stupid?
I don't know. Rotoscoping or something? I don't know. No, I'm pretty sure. I did look this up once, I think. And someone on Reddit said that Rudy's stuff is rotoscoped like 3D or something. And I was like, wow, that's really cool. I never noticed.
Stuffs don't exist in real life, EliteAri. How could you rotoscope one?
I don't know, like a 3D printer or something. Who knows?
I got him there, chat. He had no counter. Wait, were you saying something else before I diverted into my funny miscellaneous thing?
I just gave my.
Because I got some other prescient notes.
Go ahead.
I think in the way we're structuring this, and I should have brought this up beforehand, especially when we had like a 5-minute discussion about structure, but I forgot. So I think, because usually, especially with these, especially last time, I think we did this, maybe we did this with Chainsaw Man, doesn't matter. We would go sort of through in order. There are kind of some general things and kind of some big things about character and theme stuff that are sort of intertwined by the core question, is Rudy bad? Is Paul bad? ? And then we've got a different world building thing. So do we want to handle it in this fashion where we talk about some character overall thoughts, potential criticism stuff, and then talk about world building stuff? Or do we want to... I don't know how I could bring this up if we do it in a linear structure. So do you want to do this first?
I think we'll do it first, yeah.
Now, we'll probably do world building second. What's my final note here? I guess this is the last thing to bring up from last time, kinda. I had a note to EliteAri that it literally read this. It feels like the reincarnated dude is kinda an idiot rather than me. And I read this out last time comedically and said, I have no fucking idea what this note means. And we speculated about what potentially I could have meant by this. And then we moved on briskly. But I recalled in watching this, and I was frustrated with both of us. You particularly, because you should have got it, EliteAri. But this note is about me accusing the Rudy of being an idiot. Now, the whole conceit of the show is that somebody that's older is reincarnated into a dumb kid's body, and he's smart and stuff, and he figures stuff out, and et cetera, et cetera. And so I think this was a criticism on the show for Rudy being a stupid protagonist. You ever seen a hack YouTuber, EliteAri? They're always complaining about characters being dumb and things.
Yeah. What did he do that was dumb?
I think that's what I was doing. Now, that part I cannot recall.
All right.
There was something, I think this, because it is in the episode 3 notes, it's when he's trying to take the fucking Sylphie's pants off, and you're like, obviously this is what's happening, you fucking moron.
Oh my God,
but he
Kyle.
doesn't know it. Now this goes into a whole different thing about like the very idea of dramatic irony, and this goes into shitting on the normies a little bit. I went through this point a little bit in my head like 20 minutes ago. It is funny because you can find, again, hack YouTubers, etc., complaining about characters not being smart enough in situations, etc., etc. And usually there's like 2 sides to this argument. There's like the I had one of those blank mind moments. What are we talking about?
Dramatic irony.
Characters being dumb
Yep.
and dramatic irony. There's sort of the it's whether or not you can remove yourself as an omnipotent viewer and your context and just put yourself into the character's mindset to see if it's actually logical for the character to not understand or think that something is obvious that you think is obvious. Now, the very
Sure.
essence of dramatic irony goes against this. Obviously, the characters don't know something, the audience does know something, therefore, it creates drama through the irony of that situation. I think that's what dramatic irony means. I remember grade 10 English, Romeo and Juliet. That's where I learned all this stuff. Don't remember where there was dramatic irony in Romeo and Juliet. Probably, when they're killing each other and they don't know it EliteAri and they actually, it's a big thing. And Lamau, what an accident. They misunderstood each other. That was pretty funny.
Crazy.
Dramatic irony. So the normies always get mad, and it seems inevitable. Whenever a character doesn't know something that they know, they start to hate that character and very mean when they make poor decisions, even though
Yep.
it's justifiable because they lack the knowledge the normies do. Because the normies are big fucking hack dumb YouTubers. And I'm kind of being that in this situation. So it's what's the line? Where it's like, is it just through my understanding of narrative and the fact that I've seen this scene a million times before, that I know that it's obvious that Selfie's obviously got a penis, bro? No, that turned out not to be the case. The other
Yep.
thing, what are those called? But then, or is it actually a reasonable thing? Your thoughts, EliteAri?
Well, I don't know. I would fight you on the fact that it's obvious that she's a girl, I guess. Because it's an anime, right? And I guess it depends on what you know about anime, but like they can be very feminine looking. God, the genders are confused here. Very feminine looking, feminine looking boys, right?
Yes,
You can't be certain. You'll be watching it and you'll be like, I don't know. I guess it's just an anime thing. But then if you like
the very
divorce
thing
it, you're
happened.
like,
But then when the drama of the scene is happening, this is the only possible outcome.
yeah,
For
sure.
when the scene starts is more so what I'm talking, because
Yeah, I
beforehand
know
I even said
yeah.
this in our previous episode where I was like, oh, I thought it was a girl, and then they say it's a boy, and I sort of just went with it. But I was like, it might be a girl. And then obviously when you get to that scene, that's reiterated on. Now I think the initial doubt is all created for that scene to be funny with sort of dramatic irony in retrospect. So it's
Yeah.
kind of cleverly constructed on an episode structure level. But
I
this
do
point
wonder,
here,
I very much wonder if this is an anime thing as well. Because like when you're watching the light novel, you just see how Sylphie is described through Rudy's eyes. So you don't really that scene is a bit differently portrayed, I think.
yeah.
Because you don't actually you can't she doesn't have a voice actor, she doesn't so you don't see what she looks like or anything. Yeah, I don't know. It is interesting. I know
Anime
exactly what
must
you're
be
talking about with the
superior.
normies. Yeah.
Yeah, them fucking dumb normies. We love them.
Yeah.
But yes, to get that final note out of the way. Now, if we can go back to criticizing the show in real and dramatic terms, I'm
Yeah.
sure there's some criticism in here, though it's not all criticism, all right? Something else I think I mentioned last time, I definitely did. Content, which was the former
Yeah.
Digibro B and Nate talking about anime and stuff, and they did one episode on Mushoku Tensei before they ended their tandem, covering episodes 1 through 9. So I couldn't watch it until I started this group of episodes, and I completely forgot about it even after watching episode 9 until today. And I was like, I was probably listening to us talk about it. And I was like, oh, yeah, I could go and watch that. It's only like 29 minutes long or something. I wonder if
Mm.
EliteAri watched it. He probably didn't.
Do you want me to tell
But yeah,
you?
so I went to watch it. And obviously, I'd watched it in the past, didn't really remember anything. And it was kind of how I remembered it, kind of not. But I think I echoed kind of some of both of their general sentiments. They were
Mm.
generally positive. They had very Nate and very B reactions to the show. Where B like didn't care at all about anything that wasn't like the meta weeb element group analysis stuff, and Nate was
Mm.
into like the systems and shit. Very different. It's very funny. Now I got in brackets here, called it generic but fun to watch, and that's kind of my thought too. Now I know
Mm.
they didn't use the word generic, but I couldn't remember when I was making the note. Because generic's a little mean. But I would say overall, like if I had to give, because it is surprisingly easy to watch, which I already kind of talked about with me watching 3 episodes, et cetera, not realizing episodes were this far through and all that stuff.
Yep.
But that doesn't translate it to being like one of my favorite things. And I was wondering, like, if I was to score it right now, what would I give it? And it's not a bad rating or anything. It would probably be like a 7 or maybe an 8, but probably a
Mm.
7. There are little moments that are incredibly clever, but overall, and they sort of talked about this where they talked about how all the characters were like archetypes, and I definitely get that vibe like massively. Um,
What do you
I
mean?
memed about this a little bit last time where I was like, oh, here's Oscar and that's Eris. And that's definitely developed more, not as in she's developed more, though she technically has, as in like, oh, it's Oscar. Though the problem with Asuka is like calling her the tsundere sort of originator is that she kind of has the surface level character traits, but Asuka doesn't really develop into anything good. So
Mm.
like whenever Eris has moments of like developing out of it, it's like, oh, she's like past Asuka at this point because Evangelion is for bad people and bad things happening to bad people, etc., etc. There's no light at the end of the tunnel. There kind of is. She like end of Evangelion. We've seen it. It's not like it's a little weird.
Mm.
Nevertheless, it does feel like oh, and he is what's our third's name again? Rugid.
Yep.
There's no shot that's actually his name.
Rujad,
Rugid,
yeah.
Rugid,
Yeah. Rujad.
Rugid. We got our Spurred, our disgusting fucking treacherous. No, they're not treacherous. They're like
Yeah, we love him.
murderous. I was saying something racist for a funny effect, but I fucked it up. That fella,
Yes.
he's he's kind of stoic and he's very. It's like I've seen this character 50,000 times before. And here's Roxy and her companions and the lustful older woman. Seen that a million times before. They're doting sort of. I said doting last time, and then I looked it up and I actually did use it in the right context. Calling the dwarf dude doting, not the right context to be using that word, but we got this dwarf dude, seen him a million times before, etc., etc. And even the
Wait,
plot
wait, wait,
beats,
wait.
like,
We
oh,
gotta
I've
stop
seen this a
there.
million
Wait.
times before.
This dwarf dude, Talahan, what do you mean we've seen him before? What do you think
Oh, he's
who
just sort
he
of
is
like the
he?
nice little fella. He's going to be really strong in a pinch, but overall he's generally kind of aloof, and he has nothing to say about the gangbang, etc., etc. Now,
Okay, interesting.
from EliteAri's interlude here, well, that's not what he just did. Interruption. That's the word I was looking for. Now, he told me to stop reading into things. Now I think he's going to have some really outstanding originality to him, so I'm excited for that. Um, but it does kind of feel like that where I don't think anything about the show in a grand sense stands out to me as being like, oh, this is like my favorite or one of my favorite things ever. Now, it's still got plenty of time. It's got like 8 episodes, and then this is just the first season, et cetera, et cetera. And
Mm-hmm.
because it's so easy to watch on the minute to minute, episode to episode basis, I probably will continue through with it. Even if EliteAri died tomorrow, I would probably still watch it.
Right.
Might be depressing. Remember an EliteAri and he's dead, and I got to get Draki Bacon on the next episode.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, I'd probably still watch it. But it is, I think that is kind of I don't want to call it unremarkable EliteAri. That's kind of like generic, is it? So, for what do you call it when it's not on the elite level? It's just kind of good. Unremarkable? It's not average
I don't
either.
know.
It's better
Good.
than average.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, yeah, it's just good, I guess. We're having a fun time.
It's
Now,
a
there are
fun
little
watch.
moments where I'm like, oh, this is like really good. And I have little miscellaneous notes on them. And we'll probably talk about them as we go. And for the rest of the thing, I'm probably going to be very positive and be like, yeah, that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
And that was cool. But it's just not on that upper echelon yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
That was kind of the general thought. I had a
Well,
bunch of other little notes.
I gotta interject
Yes,
on
counter
your
me.
rant about the characters being generic and archetypes. I completely disagree. I think Mushoku Tensei undoubtedly has the best characters in, I would dare say, anything I've seen. The my
Oh,
number one appeal of Mushoku Tensei is the characters. I would say, like, I remember once you did this S tier list or whatever, like tier list of all your characters, and you put, I think it was like Mad Men and stuff at the top and all these live action things. I think for me, if I was to do that, Mushoku
pretty
Tensei, all the
cool.
characters would be in like my S tier. Um,
Now, I
so
did see a thumbnail of you doing a tier list, and I nearly clicked on it today, EliteAri. I
oh boy,
stopped myself from
yeah.
being so good.
Oh god, yeah, I'm being
Um,
crazy. Half the characters you wouldn't recognize. You'd be like, who are these people in S tier? God. Um,
is Paul going to be an S tier or F tier because he's a bad rapist, or are we redeeming him like a coward would?
Yeah, who
Um,
knows?
there'd be so many implied spoilers. I'd go wild.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, but yeah, I think that my I'm trying to think what would be a good example which I can talk about. The- hmm. I don't know. I
should I
guess
give
my
a
example from of Ghislaine from last time, probably my defense of it, where it's such a minor character, but there's a lot of different dimensions to her. Um, so I don't know.
huh?
And now we have even extra stuff with her backstory here and everything. And she's such a minor, like we've seen her in like 3 episodes, and there's so much to her, and it's
It's
like that for
funny
every character. Yeah,
because my conception of her is not as a minor character at all. I'm like, she's like one of our
that's
main
yeah,
characters,
interesting.
like in our top 5 minimum. But now I know she's never coming back. EliteAri just spoiled that too.
Yeah,
Um, but she was, I remember, the quintessential example last time of sort of I've seen this character, and I feel like with all of them, there's a little attempt at depth, and
yep,
there is a little depth, but it's just kind of uninteresting depth. Um, like counterexample for characters, despite what EliteAri just said about Mad Men, would
mm-hmm.
probably always be Berserk. Um, where for every character in Berserk, I always use the N word, EliteAri. You remember when I do this gag and I say the N word, but I'm actually talking about nuance. I'm
Oh
so funny
wow,
and original. Haven't used this one a million times. But I talk about the nuance in the little characters and how all of them got a little bit of nuance, and that's what makes Berserk the best thing ever. Fuck the plot, fuck all the. I don't even know what people pretend to like about Berserk because it's
yep,
really gory, bro.
the
These
law,
fucking Berserk idiots are all stupid. I gotta make Berserk videos to tell everybody why it's good. None of them get it. All the Berserk videos on the internet are bad. Even the ones I make, since they're so old.
yep.
Um, but yes, it's nuance. Um, and I don't know. There's just how do you describe? How would I describe the differences? Now that I'm comparing it so much to Berserk, this is definitely a bad thing. Not for Mushoku Tensei. I'm just saying
All right, you got
comparatively,
to pick
generally bad.
one, pick a character in Berserk, and tell me what's so good about them. Go ahead.
Ah,
It can't be
what are
Guts and
we
Griffith; they're
doing
the main
here?
characters. Yeah.
No, I hate Griffith. He fucking sucks. Put him in F tier.
All right.
That's. I feel like the example I always go to is like the fucking queen and that she was fucking Julius and how cool that is. And be like, oh, that's like, oh, you just don't see that every day. Um,
Right.
I think it might not even be a characterizational thing because that's kind of a plot thing that in turn makes the characters more interesting. Uh, if I was to script this, I could flesh this out more, but I'm definitely not doing a Berserker's good, Mushoku Tensei is bad video,
Yep.
comparing the characters. Um, there, it feels with the characters in this, it feels. I guess that's the best way I can think to describe it is what I said about. It feels like there's attempts at depth and fleshing them out, definitely, um, and it works a little bit, but it just gets them to like, oh, it's a good 7 out of 10 character. They fleshed him out a little bit, and we move on. I don't know. There's nothing interesting or unique, I don't think, about any of the characters. And because this is another thing they said in the content episode, is that isekais like this sort of hinge on the protagonists being interesting because we see so much of the world through their perspective, more so than even general other protagonists, because everything's foreign to them and because they're the only people from our world in a sense, even though it's a fake anime version of our world. Um, they talked about this, and this tied into what we were just talking about. How, and I guess I
Well,
find
Rudy.
the interesting, yeah, Rudy has the potential to be interesting, but it's the potential to ruin the whole show by, and this gets into the is Paul good or bad situation, where either the show is having its cake and eating it too, or it's doing something very interesting that could propel it to another tier where either we're doing the super generic thing and we're like, yeah, Paul was kind of a bad guy, but now we're going to go on this long redemption arc with him. And the same thing, and we're just going to brush everything under the rug, um, and show this, like, what do you call it when they become good again? I don't know, or a rise.
Yep.
And this is like, oh, them because the potential interesting thing is Paul's a rapist and he's terrible and irredeemable and he does some good things sometimes and you hate that he does some good things sometimes. Um, and then he dies and you have mixed feelings when he's dead. Um, that's
Mm-hmm.
kind of interesting because it's the juxtaposition type thing. Um, I ha I have somewhat confidence, but I only have confidence in them doing something interesting like that because EliteAri was the way he talked about it in our last episode about the pedophilia, rapey stuff that we talked about and whether or not it made people uncomfortable and uh, etc. The same with Rudy and his weird sex pest grooming pedophile shit, where it's interesting as a juxtaposition because you're positioned behind this character, but the thing that can make everything crumble apart and the having the cake is eating it too is like, oh, you're trying to make your main character seem like or Paul as well seem morally gray and an interesting character because morally gray characters are supposedly these very interesting inherent characters. But then you're actually not doing that, and you're just going to have it sort of be like, yeah, they were bad at some point, but they redeemed themselves. I don't think we ever deal with the initial stuff. I'm not making any sense here. I was going to tie this back into something, but I forgot what I was tying it back into.
I think you're making perfect sense. And I have a lot of things to say that I can't say, so I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, that's the
I guess
worst
I would
part about it.
disagree in that I think that even now, without like seeing how their characters go in the future, I think I still enjoy Rudius and Paul a lot. Um, I feel like there's already enough to
Yeah,
them. Rudius maybe less so. Paul, I think, is very clear. I like him a lot already. Um,
but even
like Paul, I guess is we'll talk about it when we get to it, but Paul already has gone
yeah,
through a lot of change in how we see him. Where like initially he's very generic, not even a character at all. Then he tries to be a good dad, but kind of fails. And then we see that he's cheating on his wife, and he's a bad person, and apparently he raped someone, and everyone hates him. And then now he's like lost his family, and he's like trying to be trying to save people from all around the world and stuff. And but now he's also a bad father again, yelling at Rudy, or is he a bad father at all? Who knows? Like there's a lot of he's gone through a lot of change already. Which is all really interesting, and I can't really call that generic. Like I haven't seen anything like that before. Um, so yeah,
I was about to say that whole that Paul scene in episode 16. I was going to say that's like stuff I've seen in everything I've ever seen, and I was going to
really,
say even that stuff is like, oh, but yeah, obviously the father that separated was kind of an asshole back then, but he's the one that's actually been putting in the work. Like I've seen this. It's usually not a father-son thing, but I've seen this like a million times. And don't ask me for an example because I don't got an example offhand. I was thinking
right.
about Berserk again, and kind of when Guts comes back, but that's really not really a good example. Like
I don't think
Casca
it's
is
similar at
mad
all.
at him for leaving, and like she cries and is mean to him, and they have an initial fight, and then they rekindle, which is what I assume Paul and Rudy are gonna do.
Right.
Let's hope they fuck, just like Guts and Casca. Um, so I guess it's kind of a thing, but like I don't know. Even in that, because there's a repeated thing where even in these group of episodes, what's Gangbang Girl's name?
The blonde one. Is
Yeah,
that who you're talking about? Well, Alina Lies is how I say it, but it's probably Alina Lise is how you meant to say it.
well,
Alina
those are
Lies. Call
two
her that, all
shitty
right?
options.
That's what we say. Alina Lies.
Alana Lies, Gangbang Girl, as we'll refer to her, and Dwarf Man. They even have this thing, and it's like where they call him Scum again,
Yep.
and it's like, is he scum as in Lamau funny, or is he scum as in rapist?
Sure.
Um, I don't have faith that an anime will ever. Why am I
Well,
so
it's a
hung up
novel
on this? Like,
first.
why do I
Yeah.
care if he's a rapist? Like,
Yeah.
and in the show ignores it. Like, I feel like this is something I would generally get annoyed with other people caring about. Which is actually something I was thinking about all day, really. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but there's also these, which is part of the next note I have. Well, it's the same note, but there's like a little dash between them to differentiate them.
Mm-hmm.
Which says boring, lame moral themes. Which is actually something B talked about in the content episode. Where she was like, sometimes like they talked about the main juxtaposition being like half the time it's like this very generic like shonen-esque like baby theme shit, and it's also like, and the conceit of the show is that all this degeneracy stuff is tacked on the top, all the sex stuff is like tacked on top of it, and that's sort of the show's identity. um and they
Okay.
pointed to the first Sylphie episode as sort of the example of this, of like, this is like some shit for it from a show for like 6-year-olds. Like,
Right.
kid gets bullied, bigger kid goes and saves them. They have cute little moments together. They teach magic, become friends. It's like, yeah, I guess. And then the sex stuff is chalked on top. It's like the it's like even the comedy stuff with like Eris punching Rudy all the time is sort of like that, where this is like anime shit for 6-year-olds. But then later that episode, she gets curb stomped and there's blood everywhere. Now again, this is sort of a like, is Mushoku Tensei good or bad? Where the her getting curb stomped and the repeated somewhat little inklings of lots of violence happening. Is this all build up to a part at the end of episode 24 or whatever the last episode of the season is, where everything changes because like everybody in the party gets massacred and it's a big changing point, and now
Mhm.
Mushoku Tensei is actually a good television show? Um, or is this just weirdly sprinkled throughout? It's like, is this basically being teasing the whole time to something bigger? Or is this just sort of like weirdly juxtaposed? Now, I'm not necessarily against the weird juxtaposition of there's just sudden bursts of violence sometimes, because that's more realistic, some might say, than like an eclipse thing happening at the fucking end of the season. Um, I don't know. It's interesting like that. Now, how did I tie that back into whatever I was talking about? Boring moral theme stuff, of course, EliteAri.
Mhm.
Where it seems like, and this happened in the first bunch of episodes where Rudy will have a moment of somewhat of I think what I'm accusing here of being fake uh moral, what do you call it, grayness. Um where it seems like he's pretending to be a more interesting character than he actually is, but he always ends up making the moral decision. And when this happens, you almost never hear his older internal monologue, which is interesting.
Mhm.
Um So like even when he fucks up and he lets the one dude from one of the parties get killed by the snake thing or something because he wanted to wait to save them to make them look the coolest, etc., etc. You remember the spot
Yep.
beat. He's like very sad about it afterwards. And part of that feels there is a
Why is he
genericism
sad?
there. Because he's sad that he let him killed, and then also there's because again it's like this thing of, well, maybe he's sad because he's kind of fucking up the Spurred reputation and that's one of his goals. And is he actually sad because he let an innocent person die? Is it a shocking situation and that's why he's sad, etc.? So there are potential layers there again, this fake depth we're talking about. But it's also like, well, this is of course what the generic main character has to do in this scenario, etc., etc. Um,
Mhm.
There was a point to all of this, EliteAri. Boring moral themes. Oh, it seems like he always does the good thing at the end of the day. And I was actually reminded of this again when I was rewatching our thing, is that he originally died saving like teenagers or whatever from getting run over. So I
Yep.
think the big moral point is that even inside the worthless old person that he was, there was like a not biological, intrinsic like good person in there, and and that's sort of the theme of the series, that like, oh, everybody has good inside of them or something, and when it comes to brass tacks, when it comes to getting down to it, he will sort of inherently do the right thing because he's
Mhm.
a good person, and that sucks. I hate that.
Right. It's
I
too
guess
generic, right?
it's too like, yeah, it's too like shonen generic of like,
Like like Luffy,
of
right?
course he's going to do the right thing because he's the protagonist, and it also treats all the bad things he's doing like little character quirks of a rounded person, of like sometimes he's a pedophile now, but in real situations that matter, which is basically no sex stuff, he does what's right and saves the innocent people and has to think of a way to convince Rujard or whatever the fuck his name is not to kill the nice, potentially nice bird dude, or were they birds? I don't remember.
Mm.
Um, but
So why
yeah,
does he convince him?
who were we convincing?
Why does Rudius convince Ruger to not kill the other kidnappers?
Oh, well, maybe it's to help his reputation, or maybe it's the right thing. I don't buy at all that
Right.
it's to do the reputation thing, uh,
Why not?
because I'm being negative.
Okay. Yeah.
And I
Fair.
just don't think so. And I just think he's going to be a good guy in the end. Another thing that's tacked onto this that I figured out, and I actually figured this out afterwards, after the reveal that Roxy's 50, is like, oh, obviously Roxy's the one he ends up with, because she's also older than she seems in the body, and that's like a connection thing they have. And he can't end up with Eris and have it be a happy ending, because that's literal grooming and pedophilia, and that's the worst. It can't happen,
Right.
even though they tease it to happen, which means either Eris dies young, or Rudy dies at the end of the series in a big self-sacrifice, so we never have to address it, which is also cowardly,
Right.
from a writing standpoint, not necessarily from a character standpoint. He can't be fucking Sylphie because then I think everybody would turn on him. If he fucked Eris, I think there'd be enough shippers of all the little cute moments they have where it's clearly
True.
building towards that. Now, again, this is another thing where it's like, oh, is Mushoku Tensei great or just shitty? Where it's like, is the juxtaposition of the cute moments on set with the pedophilic undertones, like the moral grayness being created there, is that like what we're thriving on as a story? Or is it just like, oh, it's just the cute little characters being together and we're ignoring all the pedophilic subtext to sell fucking merchandise, and because that's what you do in a shitty generic story. Also, Sylphie might have been in that one scene when the grandfather gets killed because the one person had the same hair, but it was white. But was that just a shadow thing? And Crunchyroll comments kept pointing it out, and to the point where I was like, man, I hate all comment sections. They just say the generic is shit all over. Also,
Right.
interestingly, while this is up, the Crunchyroll comments, they were all very mad at Paul and thought he was the worst in episode 16. And I'm pretty sure the EliteAri video was about Paul being right. So I'm sure that pissed you off in the theoretical world where you actually saw these Crunchyroll comments. But I was kind of pissy with Paul too. I was like, God, how annoying is this fucking idiot right now?
Hey, we'll talk about that.
And then I saw the comments and I was like, oh, these people are the worst. I don't want to be one of them.
All right, I want to interject. I just want to ask a question because you've been talking a lot about where things are going to go and everything. I just wonder, what do you? Because I also remember when I was watching this the first time. Like, there's so many thoughts I have now when I'm watching where I'm like, I've completely like this was a massive deal to me back in the day, but it just isn't now. And one of those I wonder is, where do you think this entire series, like all of Mushoku Tensei, the 26 light novels or whatever, how much of like, how much of Rudius's life do you think there will be? Like, how is this just going to be, like, how many years do you think basically the story will take? I remember when I was first watching, I can't even know what to say. What do you think? Yeah, firstly.
I feel like I've seen a clip of him as like an older teenager in one of your videos at some point, but I also think that might have been the Paul scenes here, which he's not an older teenager in. Or maybe I've just seen a Twitter thing or something with him looking older. They could always do a flash short at the end to him as an old man in the next generation here, and he's looking at him, and it's a big cyclical thing because anime loves to do cyclical things like that. It's like Japanese culture or their religion or something, like the rebirth thing. Do you remember that? They could do that, but outside of that, I feel like he'll be like 18 when the series ends or something. We're being kind of loose with the not loose.
Well, you mean an adult, like 15 in this world?
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, whatever. He's 18 or something.
Like he can drink.
He'll be tall and stuff. They're being liberal. That was the word I was looking for with the time skips. We're like, 3 months. Well, really?
Yeah. I do remember noticing that the first time and being like, this is really an interesting choice. Anyway, yeah.
I feel like I've seen things do that all the time though. Yeah. And I don't like it usually. And I was like, oh, whatever. I think when I didn't like that, I was being an idiot. And I think I have a convenience complaint with that, where it's like, oh, conveniently nothing happened that was interesting off screen, and all the character beats we can see now at the very end.
Well, a lot of the times we see them traveling, like at the episode 11, it's basically a giant montage of them spending like a year traveling to Winport.
I'm thinking more of the Eris training with the cat girls. And like, oh, they're friends,
they're trapped in
they have a falling out right at the end.
Yeah.
No,
well, they have a falling out because she's leaving. That's the whole point. My God.
Yeah, but it's like no development happened. Well, they got stronger.
Well, giant development happened. Eris is like she's a mentor for 3 months. She's a good person. She doesn't hit back when she hits her. It's her entire character changes in those 3 months. Like, it's crazy.
Not really. She was just a good person.
No, really.
The rest of these generic.
No, she's not. She beat up every tutor that came to help her, and if Rudy didn't like,
and then she became a tutor. Didn't see that one coming.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
But besides the point is like the other characters more so in this. Like, oh, we really didn't get to know the chief that much, and like when he's leaving, they're like, oh, thank you for saving the kids again. It's like nothing else dramatic has happened. Nobody else attacked in 3 months. It's like,
well, the thing is, I think
criticism.
I did have a note about why. I guess I can talk about it now. Why I enjoyed that arc so much, and particularly that episode, is that I think it's framed through Rudius's perspective, where we get to the end of the episode. And there's two things specifically that happen that are interesting. One is that Rudy notices that Ruijerd and the old man, Gustav, like the leader of the place,
That
they
was
formed
true.
a friendship.
That's in direct contradiction to what I was saying. It is like, oh yeah, they've become friends somehow.
Yeah, and I guess that's the first thing. And he talks about, oh, tell me more of your war story or old stories or whatever. And it's like, wow, Rudy didn't see that
He's
this
actually
developed.
way older. Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's interesting.
What
Yeah, Rudy hasn't noticed
use
it
that
because
word?
we saw it through Rudy's perspective, and he didn't see all the stuff going on around him. The other thing is the fact that when Eris and we'll talk about Gyus or whatever, however you want to pronounce it, they fight at the end, and Rudy is just so confused, and everyone's watching as though they know exactly what's happening, and he hasn't paid any attention to all this fighting and stuff going on. So it's just really interesting to see. Like, I would say it's a strength of that arc, which is that everything happens off screen for Rudius because he's not paying attention to it. And a lot of stuff develops without him seeing it. Like, he's not the focus of the stuff that's happening. I don't know. I mean, he is the focus, but the stuff going on around him isn't. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, my time skip thing like that is not a complaint just about that one part. It's just a complaint about like all stories doing this, and I'm kind of annoyed with them. So it's not a Mushoku Tensei thing or anything. But I will say the last little fight thing where that was one of my like, oh, this is one of the best moments in the show thing. Where I'm like, oh, this is actually unique, and I've never seen this before. I've never seen them do the cross thing, and then no one loses, and then it's just implied that Eris lost, and we don't understand why. That was all great. I like that a lot. I like that episode a lot. It was just the time skip thing where it was a dumb time skip complaint. I think I have a note about that somewhere, so I wanted to get it out of the way.
I have another thing I want to say.
I think that was my point, but yeah.
I haven't said this yet, but there are a lot of things left out. I wouldn't. There's not any big things left out in this anime adaptation, but there are a lot of things where I'm like, damn, I remember this being a big deal in the light novel, but it's not here. But I think it's not a problem. Like, I think the anime holds very well on its own. Like, watching it now and just vaguely remembering stuff from the light novel, I think they chose to remove the like good things, I guess, that would speed up the pace and everything and make it
extraneous things.
Yeah, the extra, whatever that stuff, the stuff that's like really neat to have in the light novel, but it's like you can still get the story without it. But there are a lot of things which maybe we'll talk about in the light novel thing if we get time at the end. But
I know if I had read the light novels right now, I would kill you for saying this.
For what? Saying that there are stuff you can, like, the details.
That there are unnecessary details that they cut out?
No, I would say they're not unnecessary.
Chainsaw Man right now, I'd kill you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
There are some crazy
the people
stuff
that are mad right now, I'd be on your side, not EliteAri side.
Hey, let me say, I prefer the light novel of this stuff compared to the anime, but I think the anime is a 10 still. Anyway.
Oh. Was that the end of your point?
God. Let me just say one thing. Like, when they're traveling to Rikarisu at the beginning, there's a lot of time
hold on. What the fuck is Rikarisu?
Oh, the first city. Like when they first teleport,
okay.
and they teleport there. There's a lot of time spent in the light novel because Rudy just got his stuff and he hasn't tried it out yet. There's a lot of time of him trying out how to master the strength of his stuff and using all these stone cannons and trying all these different spells. And like he has this there's a lot of insight we get into how magic works and like how he like thinks of magic and stuff and what it means to practice a small spell versus like practicing a large spell, and like that stuff is all left out of the anime. But it's not that like it doesn't inform much, about the story. But it's like these small details that really fill out Rudius as a character that are left out kind of in this anime. But I don't know, stuff like that.
I like that. I like the magic testing stuff at the beginning. So I hate anime now.
There's a lot of that in the light novel. My God. That's one of the reasons I love the light novel so much. Anyway, because you're literally in Rudius's head in the light novel. There's no you have to wait for the narrators to say stuff.
First person shit.
Yeah. Anyway, anything else before we go into the actual stuff? I don't know.
Well, world building. We haven't even got to the world.
Oh,
building.
Hell yeah! All right, good. I love world building.
But we're not even. I feel like there was more to say. Something in here. Called it generic but fun. Anime is about the fetish. That was a funny thing B said. That was such a B thing to say. And then I was like, what episodes did I get Ari to watch for digest? We got to change them. So he understands all these B talking points. They're so good. Continuing from last episode, is Paul bad or just funny bad? Is Rudy bad or just funny bad? Boring, lame moral themes. Is 50-year-old Roxy now the love interest ? Noble death Lamau? Because I know they're just going to pull this noble fucking death shit. Yeah, he's gonna sacrifice himself to save everybody, so we don't have to deal with the implications of his love interest.
Yeah.
Yes. Even if he ends up with Roxy, who it's kind of obvious to me he's gonna end up with now because Lamau, she's 50 and it's okay. it's still bad because he thought she was 14 and wanted to fuck her anyway. Uh, so Rudy is a bad character and Mushoku Tensei is bad. So I guess the whole point here was there's either Mushoku Tensei is a genius with its juxtaposition, and it's like some Soprano shit where like you're supposed to juggle like the positioning of you to root for the bad character and like realize at certain points, man, I'm a piece of shit for liking this character. Either we're doing that, or we're just doing generic shit where there is a bunch of these extraneous details, or with all the sex shit where it's just supposed to be funny because we kind of joke about things. Like when we're raping, because raping is funny until like 2016 or something, where everybody watched spreadsheet videos and found out that raping wasn't funny anymore. And we're just still in that mindset because Japan has bad, what do you call it? Scenarios? Those are not the words I'm looking for. Has bad
Social
rape
dynamics.
cultures, I think what I'm saying. Yeah. Something like that. And we're just supposed to think it's funny that Paul is seducing all the people and this is another, is it dichotomy even the right word? Where it's like, there is a thing, and this is definitely the case in like traditional media, which most anime, I guess, ends up being, where it has like traditional values, I guess I'm saying, is there's sort of like there's sort of no difference between promiscuity degeneracy and like rapey degeneracy. Now, obviously, like holding somebody down, raping them is always going to be bad. There's never going to be a story that's like, oh, this is a good thing and this character did this and then they're still a good character. It's coercive Paul-esque rape. And funny because a lot of the time authors are male and the characters are male, so it's sort of like um it's like set up in a way to be like, well, everybody here and everybody watching, because we're assuming the audience is male, understands how lustful you can be, and maybe you just got to say a funny thing or trick somebody or peep on somebody to get what you want, and that's just funny, and you don't ever have to think about the implications from the other side, because you're not a girl, you're never going to be in that position, the author's not a girl, never has to think of that position, and the character's not a girl and never has to think about this position. This is why diversity is good, and we need all female directors from now on, EliteAri, especially when we talk about romance scenes, like in that great French movie you just watched. But we're not talking about that right now. The point is feminism. This show might not have it, and that will corrode it entirely.
All right, because you love feminist representation in media, right? That makes and breaks the show.
Yes.
All right, cool. All right, interesting.
Well, it has nothing to do with representation. I guess representation of issues, not representation of gender.
Cool.
I don't think we should. I think I am prepared to be disappointed, and I've already come to terms with it.
Wait, is that what you'll leave? I thought you were going to say something. Okay.
I don't think I was thinking to say something. I don't think Mushoku Tensei is The Sopranos. I don't think Mushoku Tensei is Mad Men. I think it's just an anime.
It's a dumb anime, yeah. Well, a dumb light novel, I guess, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
like see. It. Maybe it's not a big idea. It is confounding also to me because Nate doesn't care about any of this. He makes terrible points in that video about how everything Rudy is doing is not bad and actually okay. I think at some point he screams, "What's he supposed to do? He reincarnated into a kid. Of course he's allowed to fuck kids." But he brings up the point of like he was like gatekeeping's good. Nate was always loved gatekeeping, which is based and funny. And he brings up that like, oh, the fact that like this will wade off a bunch of like pussy ass viewers that can't deal with the type of shit Mushoku Tensei does with the pedo baiting, etc., is like a good thing. Get them the fuck out of here. And I feel like I should agree with this mindset so much of it being edgy and cool. And I shouldn't be this moralizing bread tuber over here. But for whatever reason, for the first time ever, my intuition is to be the moralizing bread tuber. Like, I think Mineta is funny, but he's just peeping and groping. But I guess that's kind of the same exact thing that I'm complaining about here. But I'm expecting I guess it is just that's dumb shonen shit, and it's for dumb kids, and there's no excessive violence, like curb stomping. It probably gets violent at some point, these dumb fucking shonen shows. I don't know, it's just a different vibe. I guess through the fucking, I'm expecting more, because I'm expecting it to be more adult. And that's probably unfair in some sense. Anything final to say about this dumb point?
Yeah, I want to say that for everyone listening right now who is frustrated by Kyle or and is wanting me to push
Fuck
back on him,
you!
let me just say that I think next
He
video,
can't
since
do it without spoiling.
yeah, we will have seen the entire anime, and I want to have a very thorough talk about Rudius as a character, and we can. I want to reflect on him, and I want to see what you think about everything, and so we'll talk about Rudius next time in a lot of detail.
I
That's
should
for everyone
actually
in the
think about
audience
it
who's
and do that
frustrated.
thing where
Yeah,
I build it out and don't just ramble through
yeah.
things. I
But
nearly
it's
said
really
rumble.
interesting to hear these thoughts at like middle of the story. Yeah, cool.
That's copium. He just thinks it's interesting because I'm disagreeing with him and he can't retort my great points.
True. Very
Um,
true.
do you want to move on to world building?
Yes, I do. I love world building.
So this show has a lot of world building, and even in the comments where they were kind of calling it generic, all the comments. This is on the content video. Were copying. That's a word.
Yes,
With
coping.
in the comments of being like, you say what you want, but the world building in this show is just so freaking good. And they
So
would
true.
continuously, and it's like, oh, this is just like one of the talking points about this fucking show, and I hate
Yep.
everybody that's ever said it. Now the point is, it actually is cool, and I think the visuals are cooler than I don't think there's that much fleshing out of anything besides the visuals. So I don't know what this fucking light
Sure.
novel's all about. But seeing the different environments for each thing, obviously we continued our intro tradition, even though we got a new ED at some point in here. Though I can't remember what it sounds like. Though if I heard it, I'd probably have opinions on it again. Um, we have our intro thing where we're doing little like establishing shots, and that's still great instead of a traditional intro. Everything else that has a traditional intro now is worse in retrospect because it's lame.
Hmm.
Um, Mushoku Tensei is the best. I swear, the rest of this video is going to be pretty positive. Um, So the world building is cool, especially visually, and I'm like, oh, these different environments. And when it started raining in the jungle village, I was like, oh my god, this is
Yeah.
so cool. We're seeing two different like weather patterns in this one place. That's so interesting. And like they're just swimming around in little places. And I always, whenever I saw a vision of like floods, because Australia floods all the time, I was like,
Mm.
man, what if you could just swim down the street? That's so cool. Because I'm like 11 years old and I don't understand that
Yep.
floods are bad and kill people, etc., etc. And they're just like swimming at the base of the thing, and it's part of like the structure and everything. And I'm like, man, that's really cool. I wish I could swim around my house or something.
True.
Um, so all that was cool. These world building things are cool. Um, there is an interesting thing of like, and this is it's slightly negative, but it's more a personally reflective thing. I remember when I was watching a little show called Naruto, and it would do the world building thing, and like in like episode 5 or something, they bring up like that there are 5 ninja villages in the land of fire, land of water, land of waves, etc., and they have the Tsuchikage, Mizukage, Raikage. Did I say Tsuchikage already? I did.
Yep.
Fuck. There's obviously the Hokage, but I'm missing one EliteAri. The Mizukage, the Tsuchikage, the Raikage, the Hokage, and
I have no idea.
Mizu is mist. Suchi is rock. Hokage is leaf, obviously. That's the important one. Raikage is lightning. Mizu? Why do I keep going to
See, I think
Mizu?
we got your point. Yeah.
No,
Keep
no,
going.
no, 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 no. I gotta get it.
All right.
Fuck! I'm a fake fan.
Yep.
Kaze Kage,
Oh, well
obviously. That's
done.
the
I'm
second
clapping
most
for you.
important one, you fucking idiot. Gar is the Kaze Kage. And his dad was the Kaze Kage before him, but they didn't get on EliteAri.
All
There's a
right.
bit of a
Let's
scale.
keep going. Keep going.
Like Tail Beast, and it's only singular
My
tail because
God.
Gar's. Oh my god, that joke worked on 15 levels that I didn't intend. My point is, as a kid, I was looking at that and I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing. They even show all the Kages in shadow, but they don't even show them as their eventual shapes. They just got their hats on and they're all sleek little ninjas because their first Kage you meet is the old Hokage. He's like an old man, he's small and stuff, but he's actually really strong EliteAri.
Yep.
That's besides the point. This world building was the coolest thing in the world, and they have the 3 ranks. Gainin, Chunin, Jonin, and then Hokage or Kage's above that. And it's like, oh, I'm taking in all this information. Now, it was simpler, but how come, is it just because I'm adult now that I don't care at all about the intermediate or whatever the fuck we were talking about before? And they bring up these cool stories about the 12 dudes and this one dude, and they took over the planet. And I've completely forgotten about this and all the place names and shit like that, and I just don't care at all. Why don't I care, EliteAri? Is it because I put it up to 2 things? I'm an adult now and I don't care. And I guess the other point is that I'm an adult now and I'm too busy to care. What do you think?
I think it has nothing to to do with you being an adult.
It's
I
just too
think you just
complicated.
no, I think in your mind you probably see a lot of people in the comments or even just people generally enjoy world building and praising it, and you don't want to be like those people. That's what I think it is.
No.
I think
I
it's
think
absolutely
this
what it
show
is.
is its inspiration in world building, and it's the best world building I've ever seen. And I think
Right.
compared to Naruto, it does world building completely differently, where we go to a place for like 4 episodes, and I assume we never come back to these places, which actually sucks. The
Sure.
biggest thing working against the world building is that I know this show isn't that long, and there's only 26 novels or whatever, which apparently is going to
20.
equate to like 4 seasons or something.
Yeah.
And like Naruto has like no world. Well, it doesn't have no world building, but it does it completely differently, and that has 700 episodes. Like we never spend any amount of time in the Lightning Village to get to know the place and the culture and stuff. We get to know
Mm.
the culture because we get to see the characters when we go to war and shit. Um, and then there's things like Berserk, which I've said kind of notoriously that has zero world building. It does not give a. We never see a map. We don't give a flying fuck about these fucking other continents or stuff. Just the plot stuff and what's happening with the characters. Um, it is like if I ever make a big sprawling story one day, I will do the thing like Mushoku Tensei does. That's how
Right.
impactful this world building is. Now, I also think it is boring, and I don't really. I don't remember any of these places. Like, I don't remember the name of the sand town, and I vaguely remember the establishing shots. I guess that's the least memorable one to me. I remember the horse dude was there.
Mm-hmm. Wait, I thought you
And
were
then
talking about
later,
Windfall. Wait, you're talking about Rikarisu at the beginning? You thought you find that the least
yeah,
interesting?
it was so cool to
The
look
city
at, though. I
surrounded
remember it.
by like mountains with all these like engravings and
Yeah,
a weird,
it was all
interesting
red.
citadel at the
I was like,
top. And
this is like the hidden city in Uncharted 3. And I was like, oh, this is fucking cool.
true.
Um, but yeah. So the world building is cool. I just don't like in my head, I'm like, oh, in the third act of this story, there are going to be wars at every one of these cities. And we're going to have characters that we've met on the ground because the show does a great job at setting up characters
Mm,
for later on. Like, obviously, going to meet Catgirl at some point near the end, and she's going to be super strong, and her and Eris are going to have a cool dual fight thing, um, et cetera, et cetera. Like, we're setting things up. And even though the world building seems sporadic and random, it's like very clearly planned because it's like, oh, the first thing we see when we've taken to this different continent is we meet Roxy's people. And then we go to a
mm,
place and then we meet the fucking beast people. And it's like all connected to old stuff, basically.
yep.
Which kind of part of me when I realized that it seemed less impressive of like, oh, we are kind of doing a linear plot thing here.
Mm,
Um, Instead of like just like, oh, it feels like a very fleshed out world where there's
I
like
agree.
ideas between them all. But I don't know if we have enough time to flesh any of them out in interesting ways. And then when I realized, like, oh, we're kind of going to key places to characters we've already met in this like, this show is very young. We're still in like 16 episodes in or whatever. Is that like, are we running out of places to go? That's sort of a fear. And we're going to be getting back to home soon, et cetera, et cetera. Um, but yeah, my note here is I think the world building is too good for something so short. Um,
I would just say don't be
but
worried. All
yeah.
right, it's a
I,
26 novels. That's a long story. There'll be a lot of world building. I think it's universally loved, this world building, but maybe that'll make you hate it. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
Yes, I do hate everything people love.
Yep.
But yes,
I
the
want to point out some of my world building details I got here. Right.
mhm.
I think it's really interesting already in the first scene at the campfire with Ruijerd. There's these really cool cave paintings of these six-armed creatures fighting these two-armed creatures with weapons. I thought that was really cool. Like, there's a lot of
Oh, I
weird
vaguely
establishing
remember
like
this.
paintings like that. Yeah, which it's like you see stuff like that, and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe they put details like this in the anime. It's crazy.
Yeah,
Um,
obviously this is teasing something towards the end. But also, every time I see a cave painting, I just think of the Jon Snow Dany scene, and I think they're all lame by association. But no, the
yeah,
Mushoku
true,
Tensei
true.
thing was cool, but Game of
Yeah,
Thrones is bad. That was the point of that little tangent.
yep, true. Another thing, this isn't a detail or anything, but it's crazy how much effort they put in the anime to just showing all of these environments off. Like it's wild that they had all of these shots they did for that one like ending in episode 11 where it's like basically just a montage of traveling. They didn't have to do that.
Yeah.
Like they didn't have to do any of this. It's crazy like how much detail they put into like Rikarisu as a city and just seeing so many shots of it. Um, yeah, like it's I haven't seen any anime like this before where they put so many different environments, spend so much effort just painting one frame basically, and just I don't know, I love it so much. Um, a detail that I didn't notice, but I saw in like a comment when I was watching on YouTube, rewatching this bit, is that there's a scene in the first episode where Rujo kills a giant turtle, and then immediately when we go to Rox's village, we see that their houses have turtle shells for roofs or whatever, or they basically live in like turtle
This was
shells.
a comment on content, EliteAri, you fucking
was
hack
it?
fraud.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cool
Well, yeah,
detail.
somebody commented the same thing, where it was like,
typical YouTube comments. Yeah, they're all copying each other.
Yeah, they all say the same thing, and they're all repeated a million fucking times, and they want wings, and that's a Red Bull and a KFC reference.
Yep. Oh, what a cool detail, Kyler, right? My God.
I kill commenters. But we actually love commenters, and we want you to comment on this video.
Yeah, they give it, tell us how much Kyler's wrong and how it's a great show, and 10 out of 10. And,
indeed. I will read them, so if you want to spoil stuff for me, go ahead.
Yeah, actually, he will read them, so be very careful with that. I guess another thing they do is that whenever you're seeing all of these establishing shots and stuff, it's always very alive and dense. Like, there's all these bugs and animals and plants, and I remember this one shot of Eris looking at this plant, and it just eats another animal, and she's like in shock. She's like, "What the hell, Rudy? Look at this!" Small things like that just going on in the background all the time, which is really cool. And then at Rikarisu, there's these engravings on the mountains depicting demons and dragons and stuff, and I was like, "Wow, that's really cool." And we see a pristine castle high up, which is what I mentioned before in Rikarisu, which is interesting that we don't. That's another thing they talk about in the light novel. Like, what
there's
is
a
that
fucking
castle?
skyscraper. Remember that? What the fuck was that?
Yeah, exactly. But they don't.
It's like Naruto at the end when there's skyscrapers in the background. That was fucking crazy.
I'm pretty sure they talk about what it is in the light novel, but I don't know. Maybe this is something I'll put for next time. But
it's like that one city in Game of Thrones, Volantis, where there's like a inner city in the middle that nobody's allowed to go into, except Oberyn went in there. And what did you learn in there, EliteAri? That it serves the Dornish master plan. That's what Preston was telling me one time.
Crazy. Game of Thrones.
It was obviously how to kill dragons, you fucking idiot. You got to shoot them in the eye.
Right. Yeah, actually,
so that seems my point in bringing that up is that it seems to be a cool little fantasy thing where there's like a city in the city and it's secret and stuff.
Yeah, and so different from the rest of it.
What the fuck?
All right, but the number one world building thing, which I have never seen any anime do this before. I wonder what you thought of it. The languages. They literally talk in other languages, and they have subtitles at the bottom for the Japanese. Yeah, go ahead.
In my prescient notes, did I keep it there or did I move it down to miscellaneous notes? Are they speaking a different language when they're speaking demon? Is it not Japanese?
Absolutely,
I don't know these
they
things.
are. Yeah, I would. Whenever you see subtitles at the bottom for the Japanese, they're speaking another language, and yes, that happens. A lot.
But it sounded Japanese.
No, it's a different. No, it's a different language.
Is it a fake language, or are they speaking Chinese?
No, it's a fake language. Yeah, made up for the show. I tried to look it up. Like, Japanese. I couldn't find any details on how they made it or anything. There hasn't been any like behind the scenes stuff that I've seen, but it definitely is there's like, and also it's not just one language. Like there's demon language or demon tongue, and there's also beast tongue as well. And it's crazy like how much they commit to it. Yeah.
Yeah, I nearly looked it up, but then I was like, I'll just ask EliteAri instead. It's interesting because I've never thought like, what if your fake language sounds Japanese? Because this fucking nonsense, fucking Game of Thrones shit, makes up languages in Dothraki or whatever. Like that's a fake language, but I think it's based on like Klingon and shit, or something. I feel like I heard that in a fucking behind the scenes interview thing. And I guess, does that sound English? Like if a Japanese person was to watch Game of Thrones subtitled, would they be able to tell the difference, or would it just all sound English to them? Like everything sounded Japanese to me. And is it the core like sounds that each language have then imparted? Because obviously most of the people speaking Dothraki, the actors, will be more familiar with English than other languages. The art of making a fake language. Do you base it off the roots of English to make it easier, as this one was based off the roots of Japanese? I don't know anything. I'm not a linguist. What was J.R.R. Tolkien? He was making languages and stuff. There's like a word for it. Maybe it is a linguist. What do you say?
He wrote books. Isn't that crazy? We can't write books.
Yeah, with fake languages. And you know the funny thing a YouTube comment would say and repeat a million times is that he actually just made those stories as an excuse to put his cool languages and things, so people would like Elvish.
Yep.
I've never seen that YouTube comment before. I want to kill YouTube commenters.
All right.
Now, what were we talking about? Because I wanted to interject with an
just world building and languages and stuff, but I'm done with my world building point.
This is completely unrelated, but it's a small point, and we've already moved past the section it would go in.
Go ahead.
But there was also an Ask Eris thing where Eris wanted to learn because she's a dumb because feminism doesn't exist in Japan, right? So this dumb fucking Eris bitch wants to learn how to cook so she can become a good housewife for this fucking cuck Rudy. Now I hate this because I hate housewives because I'm a Western man.
Yes.
In what do you call it? What do you call it when am I cucked by feminism? What's the descriptor there? Who's indoctrinated? That's one of
Yes.
those things.
You're an intellectual.
And this was something I ignored for the longest time about Asuka's character and tried to replace is in those fucking rebuild movies. They add in that she wanted to cook for Shinji to impress him because she likes him. Asuka doesn't like Shinji, EliteAri. Stop saying that, and I hate anybody that says it, and I hate those movies for implying it more so than the show. And that means they're the same character and it's generic, and I've seen all these characters before. You see how my point is bolstered by this point?
Yeah.
Stop learning how to cook, women.
Yeah,
Fight
stop copying other characters, right? We don't like it. We only like the first version we see, right?
Especially when it's the greatest character of all time, even their worst character trait. That's okay. But not being feminist. Now that'll get you killed by me.
Yeah, we
so
love
stop
feminism.
trying to make your female characters that could be cool and independent.
Yeah, don't give them
need
depth,
no man.
Right?
Try to impress a dumb fucking man who doesn't deserve it, who's a pedophile. Anyway, world building. It was cool and stuff, and there was you were reading out all your little notes.
Yep. Well, I read out my world building notes. There'll be some throughout, but you want me to go through the recap now?
No, hold on. I got flood in a jungle is a cool concept. That was a world building thing.
True. Yeah.
Any of my Roxy notes about this? Maternal figure, weird, maybe. Nope. On to the recap.
All right, so the first part here is about the Demon Continent and Rikarisu. So I guess the first thing to talk about is I have a bunch of names here: the mana disaster, the mana calamity, the teleportation incident, the mass displacement, the metastasis event. There's a million translations for this. You got it right. They teleported, Kyle. Can you believe it? But what did you think about this? Yeah.
Oh, so we're getting my follow up on because last time it probably ended and we didn't know what was happening, huh?
Yep. Blinding light consumed them.
Yeah. This is that thing where we don't follow up because we don't remember because we've contextualized the information so much that I was either talking to you about at the beginning of the podcast or beforehand. Yep. So the people listening don't know shit about what I'm saying right now. I don't know. I've removed myself so much from my speculation at the time that I can't even recall what I thought or what my initial reaction was. Isn't that funny?
That's good to hear.
They got teleported. There's this dude and he helps them and he likes kids, but he's a little bit shady and we'll have to manage his shadiness because he's a moral absolutist or something and he's going to kill all the bad guys. And there's some clear contradictions here that we will bring up lightly and we'll make him mad, but then we'll have a very generic scene where we laugh about it and then shake hands that I didn't like.
Okay. Well, we're not talking about that yet, all right? So after this blinding light at the end of last episode, Rudy wakes up as his old self in a white void, and an entity calling himself the Man God gives him advice to help him out. He says he needs to rely on the man he sees when he wakes up and help that man. So what's going on with the Man God here? What did you think when you first saw Rudy's body there? Were you like, oh, I guess this is over now? He's back things up.
Well, I was like, EliteAri told me that we weren't done with this fucking old before isekai shit. So I was like, oh, this is one of those things. And I'm still conflicted about the conceit being stupid and isekais being dumb and how much better this would be if this fucking dude didn't exist and it was just little Rudy or something.
Nope, I gotta stamp that out right here. The show cannot exist without other Rudy. It's impossible.
Absolutely, it cannot.
It cannot.
I still hate being reminded, and I think it's stupid sometimes. Maybe I still haven't made my mind up.
Well, then you don't like Mushoku Tensei
because I see it and I'm disgusted. I'm like, this fucking fat loser. Where's my pretty little anime boy?
Yeah.
It makes the bullies the real heroes of this story.
Yeah.
But yeah, he shows up and it reminds me of a thing I learned in a PCP lecture about animorphs, if we can bring content back into this, where they had like a god would like come out and talk to him every once in a while to obviously set up something later. It's like Madam Web and the 90s Spider-Man thing where she's showing up to say something ominous, except this one's much more involved in the plot. Now, I don't know if we got that much meta shit in the first group of episodes, but this is sort of part of the meta stuff where Rudy's disgusting 30-year-old self will sometimes speculate about the narrative, but not in a hyper self-aware way where we're aware that we're in a narrative, but just sort of he'll have fantasies about it, like he has like, oh, we're on a ship and it's gonna get wrecked, and me and Eris are gonna fuck because I'm a pedophile on a beach.
Yeah.
Instead, and then he's like, but actually, in reality, it was boring, and they get to the thing, and she was throwing up.
Well, I guess the more relevant thing
Um,
in this scene, I don't know if you're gonna bring it up.
I was
How
probably gonna
he's
forget to. So.
well, he's speculating about how I've seen people like you before, the god who says they're like nice or whatever, and they're trying to help me and they're trying to deceive me or whatever. That's like his like
Yeah, it's the
speculation in this
devil,
scene, right?
remember?
Yeah.
But yes, there were other examples of meta stuff besides that. That was probably one. Um, Fuck me if I can remember any of them. But there were a bunch of little things like that. The meta in the show was underwhelming a little bit, but it was almost good that it was underwhelming because I didn't want it to get too meta. And to the point where I was like, oh, should this be... That there was the other example that led into a more interesting conversation and conclusion about the meta stuff, but I've forgotten it. So
Nice.
moving on, the man god, I don't know. It's probably some fucking, it's his future self. It's something weird. Or it's not, or it is a trick, and it's probably not. He's flamboyant, which means we're not supposed to like him because, again, there's no feminism or progressive stuff in Japan, so we're supposed to hate him because he's gay coded.
Well, do you think it's a man?
He's a man god.
Well, that's just
But
his
yes,
title, right? If you want to say him. All right.
It's Eris in the future. Okay, EliteAri, you spoiled it.
Oh, you think it's a woman? All right. Cool.
But yeah, it's something, and he's flamboyant, but he's actually going to be good. Maybe. Or we are doing a cleverer subversion where he's actually.
Well, all right, what would you do in Rudy's situation? Would you follow his advice?
This is actually interesting, and it's sort of the conceit of the whole show is sometimes what would you do in Rudy's situation, and how interesting that is of a conceit, and to watch it play out is very interesting. Because after the second time where he says like, "Oh, I wanted to do this thing," and it was like a bad conclusion that that Rudy had fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't remember the situation. I'd be like,
well, he wanted him to.
Maybe this guy is fucking with me.
Well, he wanted him to bond with the Rujert over handing in the kidnapper, but instead he like fought with Rujert over the kidnapper.
Yeah. And it was like, yeah, definitely in that situation, you're on Rudy's side of not wanting to kill these kind of like dorky, low tier criminals. So yeah, you're like, oh well, fuck this dude. I don't know. It's sort of an unknowable situation.
Yeah, true.
So, what was the question? What would I do? I don't know, EliteAri.
Just a small question. It doesn't matter that much. I just want to say about the man god and this void and stuff and everything we're seeing. It is it's a perfect adaptation. I can't believe it. There's a few things in this anime where there's maybe 3 things I can list that are perfect adaptations where it's like, wow, I can't believe how well they did this. One of them is the man god. Because I know I didn't look it up, but he's described as appearing as not either a man or a woman, which to me is very clear. Like when you look at it, to you, apparently it's just a man. He has a mosaiced face, and it's basically impossible. He's like slightly out of your perception all the time. And I thought that was really interesting.
I did like it visually.
Yeah, like it's crazy. Clearly, it's like rotoscope 3D or something. Like the way they've done it, it's like motion captured kind of. It's really cool. The chromatic aberration, or like the distortion of the colors and the fringes or whatever, I thought that looks really cool. Just how blurry he is, and how he like teleports around, like when he's leaving, and it's really interesting. It's a perfect adaptation, I would say. So yeah. Oh, and this wave hits him the first time when he leaves, and this crashing wave like hits Rudy. I'm like, man, that's terrifying.
Oh yeah, there was some cool transitions and stuff. I remember.
Yeah. Anyway.
But yeah, he was cool, I guess. Or was he?
Was he? Yeah, who knows? He's appeared quite a few times. I didn't remember he appeared that many times. It's been like 4 times now. But anyway.
Really? I was thinking about 2.
Yeah, he appears right at the beginning. He appears once in Rikarisu telling him to take the dog napping thing. He appears in Windport with telling him to get that eye. I think he appears one more time that I'm forgetting between those, but yeah, crazy.
Oh, I remember something interesting he said.
All right.
Because Rudy asks him if he's the one that isekai'd him, and he says no, that dude, and then he has some implication about the person that did.
Yeah, he said,
or the god that did.
Yeah.
No,
he says that reincarnation isn't my domain. That's more of a wicked dragon god thing. Basically, something like that. Yeah.
And didn't you say something about dragons earlier? So maybe that one dude we saw was the wicked dragon god. Probably not, because I think you called it a red dragon or something.
Well, the big giant
Or a
thing that
worm.
guy fought was a red dragon, a red worm or whatever. Yeah,
And there's
'cause
like
it was
red
red.
mountains or something somewhere.
Yeah, the red dragon
See, if
mountains,
I
the
was
upper jaw, the lower jaw.
7,
It's
I would
crazy.
remember all like
True.
Naruto, but I don't.
Yo, I don't know if I said this here or it was before we recorded, but I also the first time watching this, I knew nothing. I don't think I knew Rujo's name even. All right, so you're doing better than me. Yeah.
Fuck these names.
Yep.
We got Oscar Girl and Evil Spirit.
True.
Oh,
But
him saying
read
that
him.
is,
Read him, Jesus. We meet
yeah,
him.
we seem to, yes. It seemed to indicate that we might be addressing the isekai stuff, which I know we address or something in the epilogue.
Yeah.
Now, because I watched EliteAri videos.
Yeah.
So yeah, last time I think I'd written it off and been like, yeah, we're just never going to address this. I feel like it would be kryptonite for any isekai show to ever address this. But then my only other remembered example from watching a content episode was them talking about slime isekai and how like
Oh
he
no,
discovers
don't
at some point
spoilers.
that
I don't want.
fuck you and spoilers.
No,
you moron,
absolutely
but
not.
whatever,
Is
I
this an
said this
anime
last
thing?
time.
All right.
So EliteAri knows what I'm talking about, and that's all that matters.
Okay.
Fuck you, audience.
Sure. Okay.
So yeah, so I was like,
Scared me.
maybe all these fucking dumb shows acknowledge their shitty, dumb fucking conceit at some point and ruin themselves.
Right.
And maybe we're going in that direction.
Yep.
That was sarcastic,
I no comment.
by the way. It might be good.
Yep, no comment. So, Rujo Superdia, could you believe it when we saw him? And last time you were talking about, one day these people will show up and something will happen. And there we saw him, the first character when we wake up. Rudy like has a reaction to him, but like gets over it, and Eris is absolutely terrified. Then immediately becomes friends with him when he like shakes her hand and like introduces himself to her. Really cool. But
Eris really likes the whole adventure thing. This is going to be hit on repeatedly. And this is sort of the first leg of it.
We learn a little bit about her, which is that, well, I guess the two things that I learned through seeing this is that she respects two people quite a lot. One of them seems to be her grandfather, which we saw last time, which is like where she models her personality off and kind of wants to be like him. The other person we've seen her want to be a lot like is Ghislaine. And we really see that come out in the Beastfolk thing where she's defending her and crying about these people, like besmirching her name and everything. And I think the adventuring part comes from what she's heard from Ghislaine and all her stories in the past and everything. It's really interesting.
Yeah, when she cried, I didn't like that. What a pussy.
True.
She's supposed to be my stoic favorite character, which she still is because she's an Oscar clone, even if she has the same trappings about wanting to cook like a fucking cuck.
Right.
Cucks cook EliteAri. That's what we call them.
Okay.
But yes. How come you didn't ask me who my favorite characters were? That should have been
We're getting there.
conversation.
No, we're getting there.
Alright,
Okay, you know what?
there.
Because we haven't even talked about all the characters yet. You wanna say it now, or should we wait until toward the end?
Yeah, it's just Eris. I don't know the rest of them.
Still Eris?
Roxy's pretty cool too.
I guess I could ask you about all. Let's see, what have I got? Rujoud. What do you think about Rujoud? Good, bad?
He's like a stoic fella. Now, when I was calling them all generic and archetypes, they all work very well in the show, and it's like makes for interesting drama when you're like, oh, what's his reaction going to be to this? But every time it's just like the archetypical reaction, which again is still good. There's a reason why these archetypes exist and why we react to them and the stuff and etc. But yeah,
this is your
dude. He's mad sometimes.
This is your craziest talking point I think you've ever said. Like this generic thing. I just wonder if I haven't seen enough stuff. Like you have this big foundation of stuff that you've seen that you're drawing on, and I just don't have it. Because to me, they're not generic at all.
I haven't seen anything.
I just don't know what's going through your mind when you're saying these are very generic characters. Where like you've seen someone like Rujo so many times. I'm like, I don't have anything in my mind, or I'm like, oh yeah, he's like this character or something.
Now all this,
it's just
because there is more to say here, and I was thinking about this as I was talking before. Obviously, this is all abnormally subjective. It's just like, it's not even what I've seen. It's just what I've observed and what I take away from things, right? And I feel like because there was a period here, and I talk about this all the time. There's a period in like the last year and a half where I sort of decided to like everything. But I don't think I actually did that. Now, I think I was a lot more charitable with things. Like, I really like Naruto now, whereas before I would have said all the generic things that every hack YouTuber says about Naruto. And even though I really liked it, would have called it like a 7 out of 10 because Sakura is bad, Lamau. And where I sort of have adopted a much more good faith engagement, I guess, with these sorts of things. which is why I wouldn't. It's like previous me might have been couching all, wouldn't have couched all this at all, and would have just called Mushoku Tensei bad and shit. Um, I think what I've come to understand is that I very much value uniqueness. Um, and like things doing things I haven't seen. Because even if I think of like the most recent movie night where it was like the Park Chan Wook movies, those are very unique movies with weird things going on and weird ideas. And I even criticize them for sometimes having very generic messages on vengeance. Even though you really can only have one message on vengeance. I guess you could theoretically have two. It feels good or it feels bad and doesn't solve your problems. And it's usually the latter one.
No, I think you're mixing up genericism and predictability. I think that's what you're saying. Because genericism implies that you've seen something in the past, whereas predictability means that you or yourself know what's going to happen, just not based on anything in the past.
Can't you only predict things because you've seen them in the past? That's not
definitely
true.
not.
No,
yeah.
I think that's true.
If you have a mind, you can think of things that you haven't seen in the past. You can formulate different ideas and stuff and see patterns or whatever.
That's so dependent on your context, isn't it? Like if I see, because I was like, I've never seen snow, but I know snow could happen if I was in a cold place and it started to look like it was going to snow. But
if I ask you 111 plus 27, I bet no one's ever asked you that. You haven't seen anything in the past, but you'd be able to figure it out, right? I don't know.
Yeah, but that's because of my contextual understanding of numbers. But I guess that where
it's
I'm
a very fundamental understanding.
So reductive that it would reduce everything to this. But the generic versus predictability thing. But I don't know. I think it's just like, again, because when I reflect on why I like things, it is always for like the weird reason. Like me liking Berserk because of tiny character quirks and thinking, and like Miura, it's clear that's like Miura's understanding the characters, and like it informs everything about the characters, and it's always consistent to me. And it's like, oh, Flat has always been that character, which is actually not true because I call the retconning stuff out in the Black Swordsman arc quite a bit, but generally that's true, I guess, for Berserk. And so, because we're talking about Richard here or whatever, and I'm just talking about how I've seen him a million times. Maybe I'm not watching the show, and I'm just stopping. I don't know. Like, if you ask me, like, characters like Rigid, I guess my mind goes to Levi, but that's really not true at all. But it's just like, yeah, I've seen this character before, and I can predict exactly how he's going to react in all situations. Now, we're not at the Beast People thing, but the Beast People thing does give me hope for all my other talking points about Mushoku Tensei actually understands what it's doing by giving context of like, yeah, the Beast People thing was bad, even though we thought it was cute initially, and the implications, etc. I don't want to talk about that yet, though. Rigid being generic, I guess I value things that I perceive I haven't seen before. And I feel like I've seen all this before. Not all of this. Like the sword fighting thing was really cool. Which I guess that reinforces it even further of like, oh, I've never seen the sword fight do the generic thing where they clash and then one person falls down afterwards, but nobody falls down, and then that's kind of the point. And the fact that Rudius doesn't, like, that was so clever, and I was like, oh, I've never seen that before. It's like last time when I was so excited when Paul had fucked the maid and they were going to keep them, but then Rudy just got shipped out of that situation immediately and they kind of resolved it. And I was like, oh, well, that was kind of lame. What does a clearly toxic polycule relationship look like? And we really didn't explore it all. And then they got exploded and sent away. So we're never going to get it.
Right.
Uniqueness, I guess.
So we're up to Rudyard. Interesting. Rudyard. Okay, so I have a few things I want to say about Rudyard, I guess. The first thing I just thought of it when you were saying it, but it's something that I noticed the first time that I completely forgot about until right now, which is the fact that when Rudyard like is there, it basically he is like he can fight anything. He's basically invincible. Like there's nothing that can basically take him down. It's just an interesting dynamic to have. Yeah. Well, the thing is, Levi at least feels pretty human at points. Like he is a human after all. You could just like stab him in the back and he'd die like when he's sleeping. But Rudyard has that thing in his eye. He always sees danger. You can't get past him. He literally could have wiped out that entire city of Rikarisu if he wanted to. He leaped up and climbed over those mountains or whatever.
Oh yeah, that was cool. And then like he did the jump thing.
Yeah, the jump thing. Yeah. like he wipes out this giant snake with basically ease, and it's just really interesting to have him as like this shepherd here. And it's just something that didn't cross my mind at all in the rewatch. I don't know why. But more on Ruijerd. Yeah, go ahead.
There's something really clever, and this is a point on Ruijerd, kinda. Where the show will sort of think of things that I can like see it responding to potentially terrible YouTube criticisms beforehand.
Okay.
And there's actually things that I didn't think of, like because there's the whole plot of like, oh, we got to dye his hair so people won't see it. And then the conclusion at the end of the episode is to shave his head and cover up his fucking thing. And obviously that's like the most obvious answer, where if I feel like if they had done the dyed hair plot and then obviously that conveniently gets undone for drama in the episode, that's a good convenience, by the way. That's not the convenience I'm criticizing. I guess, yeah, hack YouTube out. Fucking convenient bullshit. His fucking hair. Obviously, you should have shaved his fucking head. But then for them to address that at the end of the episode and shave his head and cover it up with a
well,
Naruto
it's his choice
band,
as well.
like
no one tells him to shave the head. He just does it.
Yeah. Oh, there was like another Naruto reference. Now, I've been bringing up Naruto constantly, but because the headband was the second one, because they all have headbands, and she's like, "Oh, we match." I'm like, "Fucking Naruto, Naruto's sick." But there was one before it, and there's no way you'll get it because you're a fucking illiterate. You haven't watched Naruto. I don't read Naruto. Reading Naruto is for losers. Fuck, what was it? I should have written it down. I should have been taking notes.
No idea.
There was something at the beginning. I'll never remember it, but there was a Naruto reference in there.
All right, well,
you had more rigid things to say.
Yeah, this is another one I haven't written down, but I just thought of, which is that tying into, I guess, dyeing the blue hair, it's not the fact that they dye the hair that works so well. It's the fact that they dye the hair, go into the Adventurers Guild, and pretend to be Ruijerd. Like, they try and pass it off as though it is a super, and I don't think it would work unless they did that. Like, if they just dye his hair or whatever, people would probably think this is an actual super trying to get in. But the fact that they're boasting about it and trying to be proud about it, this is our real super, when it isn't. That's what makes him hide so well. Anyway.
And then Rigid kind of didn't react to them mocking him initially, and it was like that One Piece scene, that one scene. Yeah, it was pretty cool. But then he kind of seemed to be getting mad later, so it kind of wasn't like that One Piece scene. But the people understand what I'm saying. Naruto references, One Piece references.
Right, Ruijerd. Cool. Ruijerd, I got two things. First is the Ruijerd, Rudius and Ruijerd parallel, which Rudy brings up at one point, which is that Ruijerd has been alone for like 400 years. So now he's going Rudy is going to spend time to help him. Or I guess one of his reasons for helping him is that he kind of feels bad and can relate to him and wants to help someone who was in the situation he used to be in. Interesting. I don't really have too much to say on that. But probably the most interesting thing about Ruijerd is his philosophy that we get sprinkled throughout this, which is basically that he will never harm a child. He will never allow any harm to be done to a child. He loves children, basically.
Yeah.
And to be a warrior is to be a man. So whenever he says like someone is a warrior, it's like the ultimate sign of respect to him. And then the question is like, what does it mean to be a warrior? It's like very, I would dare say it's very ambiguous. And even Rudy kind of at some point is like, I kind of get what he's saying, but still I don't really understand what Ruijerd is saying. He's clearly going through something internally. But yeah, what do you think about all this?
Fuck, I must have watched these like a week ago, but I feel like everything we're talking about at the beginning, I remember so fragmentally.
Yeah.
Fragmentally? You know the word I'm trying to say. Because I remember getting it at the time of he was like, I think it was like protecting, to be a protector or something, and obviously Rudy like got it because he wants to protect Eris and get her back or something.
If you have something to protect, then you're a warrior. That's something he says.
Yeah. Which I think
that's like they have it in that Starlight scene.
But yeah.
Maybe. Anyway, so
I have a monologue in my head of some softly speaking voice actor going on as long as you have something to protect, life is worth living or something. And I don't know if it's fucking Naruto or like Del Toro Quest or something, but it's all I can think about. It's clouding my mind. But yeah, there was an intrinsic sort of understanding there that I thought was cool. But I can't remember the details of why I thought it was cool because I can only remember the feeling.
Okay, well, I think one aspect of Ruijerd's philosophy that makes it cool is the fact that he doesn't do this because he thinks it's moral. Like he doesn't. I don't think he has this strict code because he thinks this is the ethical framework I should do. It's a duty thing and it's a guilt thing. Are the two big things. Like he is obviously very strict and very extreme with his ideals. He's living here, because he's the only super left, or one of the either is or the he doesn't really know if there's others, but he basically in his perspective he's the only super left. I think he said that he sees rumors of them or whatever, but so the first thing is that he has to represent the ideals of his people perfectly, right? Like if he is the only one left, then he has to kind of honor who they used to be, and I guess I'd say that's one aspect of it. The other aspect is the fact that he, as the Superds, they went and killed all these people, and now he has to kind of, out of guilt, kind of undo all of that and be the complete opposite of what they were back in the day, and try and save all these people and everything. So it's interesting.
There is like an interesting philosophical potential point there about like, well, do people only ever view what is moral out of like a sense of not wanting to feel guilty? Like you got to help the innocent kid because you don't want to feel bad about it later. So is all moral intuition actually deep down selfish? There's an interesting point to there, and Rudy kind of hits on that a bit when he's like questioning his absolute devotion, because obviously it's very destructive and stupid and doesn't leave room for any sort of forgiveness, or what do you call it when you repair somebody?
I don't know.
Redemption, I guess.
Yeah, redemption.
What do you call
sure.
it? Reciprocative justice or something? There's like punishment justice, and no, not reciprocal. It's a word.
Rehabilitation.
Rehabilitation. That's the one. There's no rehabilitation over here with Dickhead over here. He's just killing people. Yeah. And because a lot of obviously moral shit and shows and stuff is based on intuition, and obviously you have sort of a feeling of what's right and wrong. And like you don't want him to kill the fucking dog stealers or whatever because they seem kind of cute and not that bad. But then later when there's like the smugglers and shit, it's like a great, well, there you're like fearful of like, oh no, what are we going to do? We can't stop this dude if he just wants to do this. How's Rudy going to get out of this situation? But later when our what do you call it, motivations align, it's like, yeah, we got to kill all these fucking smugglers. And it's like he's on board, and you can see like Rudy's like trying to figure out a way to maybe have it be a peaceful solution, but this time you're like, oh, fuck it, Rudy, just let him kill all of them, and he does, and it's like fun.
Yep.
So it's like it's something, obviously you understand that Rudy has to sort of manage this element in the group to get them best outcome, and it's a tension that's fun.
Yep, absolutely. And a lot of the time, Rudy is kind of thinking about Rudyard's reputation rather than thinking about what's like in his moral compass as well, which is interesting. But
why is he so motivated to help him again? Just because he helped them?
It's a mix of things. One is that Rudyard is obviously a very nice person who suffered a lot, and also he probably sees a bit of himself in that life, just being so lonely for all these years and wanting to help him that way. And I guess the man god also told him to help him. That's another aspect.
Yeah.
Okay. So I guess we'll go back to the recap now. Is that all right? Anything else you want to say? All right.
We were up to Richard, and we were going through characters, I think.
Okay.
But
we were going through characters. That's right. Yet. All right. You know what? We'll just go through this recap of what's happening, and as characters show up, we'll show up.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I'm completely wrong. Let's talk about Nokapra, another character, the horseman we meet in the Rikarisu.
Yes.
All these names. What do you think about him?
So the fact that you know his name is indicating that maybe he comes back, but he's
let me stamp that out now. I loved him the first time I saw him in the anime. Let me just say, it implies nothing about his future stuff whatsoever, because I remember the first time I saw him, he was like my favorite character in this whole thing. Anyway,
I hated him and wanted him to be killed immediately, and I was like, man, this is the rape horse over here.
Oh my God.
I think I just hate all horses because it reminds me of the rape horse, but also he's like terrible. And he's laughing all the time. And it makes
Kyle. He has kids.
Oh yeah, he says that. I was like, fuck them kids. Kill this idiot. He's probably bad to his kids anyway. But yeah, the most interesting thing about this fucking horse moron is that there's a weird flash in a Roxy episode later with him sitting at a table, or maybe it's a different horse dude.
No, it's him.
That I couldn't figure out. I couldn't figure out what the fuck was happening. I was like, is she hallucinating? And why is she hallucinating like the pig dude and the horse dude? Is one of my miscellaneous Roxy notes, by the way.
Nice.
So I was like, I assume this is this is trying to convey that at one point she was an adventurer with the party, and it was the fucking pig dude from the dead snake thing, and the horse dude from over here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Is that true? Are you allowed to say if that's true? What the fuck was going on there? This horse dude sucks.
I'll say yeah, it is ambiguous. I also took the same thing when I was watching the first time. I would say, yeah. But we'll talk about this later, I'm sure. Now we're actually going back to the recap, all right? Horse dude, amazing. Okay. He doesn't suck. He's just the greatest character. His design looks so cool. He's like a human standing horse, but he's a horse, like literally a horse for a head. It's so cool. And it's really interesting how different the demon designs are. There's so many of them. It's just how much effort they put into the show is crazy. Okay.
Wait, aren't they just like animals, and then there's half human, half animals?
Yeah, but they all look different. That's the thing. There's not like, oh, there's another Nokapra there in the distance. It's like Nokapra is Nokapra. He's the one horseman. Yeah. Anyway.
Okay, maybe.
All right. The party. I call them the party throughout all this recap. The party travels to Roxy's Migurd village full of telepathic people. Roxy's telepathic. Did you know? Well, her people are telepathic, I guess. We haven't seen her.
Oh, yeah. They say that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, they just wait. Like, they arrive, and then they wait there standing, and Rudy's like, what the hell's going on? It's like, oh, they're telepathic. They're talking to their people. It's interesting.
They did the classic, the old person, though the young-looking person is actually old and like 100 years old, which was Roxy's father.
True. Last time you asked me, like, oh yeah, how old? I asked you, how old is Roxy?
Yes, I remember. Like, I was watching it again and being like, he thinks he's fucking clever.
Yep. I'm just
also,
so
I said that Roxy was in the thumbnail for this episode, but it wasn't.
Yep.
It was them.
That was also really funny to hear you keep saying that. Okay. Ruja tells Rudy about Laplace and the Superds. So, do you want to recap, or should I give you? Yeah. So basically, Laplace gave the Superds exceptionally strong spears that gradually changed their minds until they began to kill people indiscriminately. They even started to kill their own families. And Rujad's son saved him, and now Rujad uses his son's spear. Yeah, this Laplace guy.
Oh yeah, his son and evil. Stuff. I completely forgot about that. I would have never remembered that until you said that.
Yeah. So this is an area where I'm not sure if they completely left out a lot of details from the light novel, or if they address this later. So I don't want to say too much. But I think the interesting thing that I'm pretty sure they've left out already is that it's like a very small lore thing, but the Superds, when they grow up, they have a tail, and as they grow up, the tail like gets larger and eventually hardens and breaks off, and that becomes their spear. So that's what he's using. So literally, he's using his son's like tail spear, and they believe that the souls of the people are like carried on their spears and everything. It's just small world building stuff.
Their spears are weird looking. I definitely thought that.
Yeah. So anyway, Laplace, what a guy. We've heard of him a few times, and apparently I
bet he's a nice fella.
He's sealed away, is what Perugia said last time. So interesting.
Oh, I definitely made a King Piccolo joke last time, huh?
Yeah.
Because I just thought about making it again, but then I was like, I probably said that. No, he'll be a little kid named Rudius. Time travel.
Well, we'll talk about that. All right.
what if Rudius is a double reincarnation? And he's actually looks like the old, and they do look similar, but he is a reincarnation in two ways, of like the body reincarnation of Lapulus or whatever the fuck this idiot's name is, and some dickhead neat moron anime boy from real life Japan. Now, wouldn't that be funny?
That would be funny.
Your stunned silence makes me think
I am what a theory. Just what a theory. Okay. Let's move on. So the party arrives at Rikarisu, a city surrounded by mountains. We've talked about that to death already.
Skyscrapers.
True. I guess we should talk about a very small detail in the light novel that they mention is that city up there used to be where Kishirisu used to be her like castle basically. And she's the pink-haired demon empress that we see later on. Yeah, that's a small thing they leave out that like it's a rumor that's going around when they're in Rikarisu.
Huh. Yeah, because I was definitely like, oh, she's just faking it. She's just a dumb little kid. But this ruins her character. She sucks now. No, it's pretty cool,
I mean, I think there's no ambiguity here that she is an actual big deal. She gives Rudy an eye. It's crazy. She's very powerful. She also says some things in the light novel that I should say it now since we're talking about Laplace or whatever. But in the light novel, I don't know why they left this out, but they say that Kishirika basically looks at him and is like, "There's something weird about you," is the first thing she says. But she also says that he has a bigger mana pool than Laplace, which is really interesting. It implies like some stuff about Laplace being interesting with magic and having a big mana pool, and Rudy has an even bigger one. It's crazy. But anyway,
Implies that it's
small
reincarnation.
details, small details.
Like I was just saying. No, that's a pretty big detail. First of all, he's Naruto again because the nine-tailed fox has the most chakra, and so does Rudy.
Right.
That's really cool. They should have said that because I would be much more interested. Because I feel like that's another thing where, oh, it's like at the very beginning of Naruto Shippuden where the nine-tailed fox sees Sasuke and is like, "You're like him." ... And it's a
I
Madara,
love that
and that's like
scene.
the bad guy at the end. And it's so fucking cool because they are likening Sasuke, who's the real main character, to a big bad guy like Lapas or whatever the fuck.
Laplace,
And
yeah.
that was Madara. So yeah, Lapas.
Don't ever say
However
Laplace, or I don't like that one. Laplace. But... All right. They dye Rujo's hair so he can get inside, and Rudius decides to rehabilitate the. Yeah, we talked about this already. Under the advice from the man god, they take the job for the missing animals. We just talked about that. They decide to swap jobs with the animal kidnappers. They wind up in a dark forest, and Rudy waits too long to intervene. When the group of young kids are having trouble fighting a snake, one of them dies. Rujud is furious at Rudy.
the chicken.
The chicken? Oh yeah, true. It
The
was
chicken was the one that
it
died.
was. Yeah.
And they had a cool little pose thing, so I was like, oh, they're going to be reoccurring characters. But they did
Yeah.
remind me of something in like a Pixar movie. But I can't think
know.
if it's like one of the college mates of in Monsters University.
Yeah.
What a movie. Yeah, the second one, you idiot, the prequel
Yeah, I never
where
saw
they're in
that
college.
lame one, yeah.
Oh, it was cool, bro. I remember seeing it in the theater and stuff. I want to watch Pixar movies again. But I said no Pixar rewatch until I get a girlfriend, EliteAri, and you're not my girlfriend, so we're not watching Pixar movies. But fuck, do they remind me of something? It might even be from Ben 10. It's weird. It's just because that prick has 4 arms, huh?
Yep.
But they're little kids, and it reminds me of something, but I can't place it. But yeah,
one
of them dies.
People, you know.
When they had a cool pose, I was like, oh, they're invincible. There's no way that one of them's gonna die.
Yeah. I think that's the intentional setup there.
Did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're meant to be thinking that whole time, oh,
smart.
Rudy's going to come in and he's going to save them and it's going to be great. The reputation, they're going to be so thankful for the dead end and everything. But
yeah,
his body just gets splattered across a tree.
Yeah, it was a great little bit of subversion because it is set up in a way for like, oh, Ridgard or whatever is freaking out. And obviously the way the scene goes is he's impressed by Rudy's sense of timing, et cetera, et cetera. But then for them to not do that and just have him get killed was cool. But yeah, that whole forest thing was pretty cool, bro. There was a scary monster and like the pig dude even got killed.
Really good. Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
I guess another
that was cool.
A note I did have is that Rikarisu is basically a complete failure from Rudy's perspective. Like the animal kidnapper died initially, then this chicken guy just dies because of his inaction, and then they go and try and save the pig guy getting attacked by the snake, but he dies anyway. Like they still fail there. Rujo's identity is revealed, so his whole plan basically in Rikarisu is completely undone, and people are more scared of him than ever before. And the kids that Rujod saves, like these 2 people from the chicken friends, they're still scared of him when his identity is revealed. So it's just that Rikarisu was a complete failure for Rudius.
But isn't there an implication that they might not be scared when Rudius says one thing?
Well, Rudy points out the hypocrisy is like, this man saved you and you're scared of him, but I guess we don't see anything after that, but yeah.
I assume we'll see them again because we do things in Mushoku Tensei to set up things, so that was kind of interesting.
Sure. It's a planned out story based on a light novel, so you can have details from 26 volumes from now adapted, and because they know where it's going to go. Yeah, it's great.
The like you can put the A on Mikasa's. Oh wait, they didn't do that, did they?
True.
When are we going to talk about power scaling? And I say that because we're going to talk about it now, EliteAri.
Go ahead.
So it's really cool that he's super strong, and then later when we're fighting the beast people, we take Eris and the strong dude away, so Rudy has to fight by himself, and that's probably the best fight scene in the show, but we're not up to that. So doing things like that with the power scaling, I like that he's just the strongest, and like we're all scared of this rape horse dude, and we know he's up to no good, and then he just strangles him for a little bit, and it's fucking sick. And it's like, fuck you, you ain't no bad guy. I was like, oh, this pig dude looks pretty strong, but then he was actually not as strong as the snake dude, and then we fucked up the snake dude. Eris's progression was that his fucking name? Am I saying her name right?
Eris, yeah.
Yes, all right. Her progression is cool, where it's like she's suddenly just fucking up the strongest snake dude in the whole world, and you believe it. Um, Oh, and the other thing is like we got some really strong characters that haven't really been outclassed yet. And again, I'm thinking of Naruto. All the strong characters from the beginning are outclassed by the time we're moving on to the next arc. All right. Um, but it still feels like I'm still like, who would win, Rudyard or fucking Paul over here? Now it's probably Rudyard, but then who would win out of Ghislaine and Rudyard here? Now it's probably Rudyard again because we're cowardly and this dude's gonna be the strongest, but Ghislaine's cooler, so she's gonna win in my head. And then there's like, oh, who's gonna fight here? I bet this dwarf dude's pretty strong over here. Roxy's a king something now, so could she fuck up somebody? And then we got who else is she with? A gangbang girl's probably pretty strong, and it's like, oh, we got some strong characters around. I'm very curious. What about this weird dragon dude? What about the swordsman that's one of the 12? Who's winning these fights, EliteAri? Who's the strongest in the verse? When are we going to get the moment where Rudyard suddenly our safety blanket is gone, not just by him being absent, but because somebody beats him up? You just know one of the big villains is going to get over at the beginning of the arc by beating him up, and then Rudyard will probably come back and beat him at the end of the arc. It'll be cool.
I completely agree. I love all these character things. I remember the first time I was watching, my big thing was what you just mentioned about Ghislaine and Rudyard. I was like, oh, which of these? Because these are two of Eris's kind of strong mentors at Defender, and it's like
he got stronger under the other one. So oh no, not looking good for our Beast girl.
Yeah.
But then there was also the Beast guy who was kind of getting injured all the time and probably wasn't as strong as Rudyard. But Ghislaine is probably stronger than him because he's a big pussy and stayed at the fucking ranch or whatever. And she went off and adventured and got enslaved or something because there was some weird implications with her looking at food and stuff in the first part. Remembered that bit. Oh, I just remember everything, EliteAri.
I think
Ghislaine's gonna win.
I'm just thinking, based on everything we've seen so far, it seems like Rudyard is unbeatable. Like, so far. Like, he seems like the strongest, because he can leap across those giant, like, mountains in Rikarisu and stuff, and, he kind of does feel like, I don't think Paul would do anything to, like, I think he'd just, like, have his spear up and Paul would be, like, defended very easily, but I don't know. We'll see.
But also, when he started doing that leaping shit, it was a weird moment of, like, oh, I guess the strong characters can do that.
But I
sort of got it immediately.
Yeah.
Like in
stuff
Naruto,
which I also don't
do
know. I don't know if they put this. Next time, I'm like, every time I think, oh, have they said this yet? I'm putting a note in for next video where we can talk about it, because there are some details on Rudyard's backstory and stuff that might have been said in the light novel, but I don't know. We'll see. Anyway,
I don't remember.
Yeah, you don't remember. Neither do I. Okay.
A thing. Oh, just quickly, the Rudyard thing is like, again with the genericism. I'm like, yeah, he's going to be like this for a long time, and then there is going to be that bad guy that beats him up.
Right.
Now, what's interesting if we did the Levi thing and he never loses, that would be pretty based. That's why Levi is cool.
True. Okay.
Oh, a power scaling thing. We're jumping ahead, but we have the 12s. No, the 12's a different thing. When we get to the last place, there's like, they're going up and there's 13 or something. He's like, well, I'm not one of the 13 yet, so I guess I must
7 great powers.
Oh,
that is something Rudyard talks about. Rudyard says that, even when I was a kid, I wanted to be one of the 7 great powers. That's what Rudyard said.
And the top 4 don't exist anymore or something.
He said no one knows if the top 4 are still alive, yeah. Which, you know what, should we just go over it now?
We all know him?
Let's go over this list here, right? So the party traveled to Millis. Let's see, they pass a monument for the 7th great powers, and Geese goes over them. We'll talk about Geese and everything later. So the number 1, the technique god. Number 2, the dragon god. Number 3, the battle god. That's what they say. The number 4, the demon god. Number 5, the death god. Number 6, the sword god. And number 7, the north god. Now, there are a few things we can imply from this list. And one of them is that we have already heard about the sword god. That's one. Which was, the sword god was Ghislaine's master, Galfarian. So interesting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And another thing, go ahead.
Did you bring them up?
I think she was just talking about her. I think it was like in the name of Sword God Galfarian or something. She said at some point. I don't remember. Yeah.
Oh, and then somebody showed up to steal her, and I thought it was weird that their face was grayed out. And I was like, are they a rapist and we're going to see a creepy smirk? Or is it the sword god dickhead? And just like the
Oh,
other
that scene you're
dickheads
talking
have
about.
faces
Yeah,
grayed out.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming that's how the cookie crumbles.
Okay, cool.
What an idiom to throw in there.
Yep. I think another thing we could imply, which isn't confirmed or anything, is that the demon god, who is number 4 on these 7 great powers, might be Laplace, because he's been referred to as the demon god Laplace in the past. That's another thing.
Okay.
So he would be number 4 on these 7 great powers. So yeah, technique, dragon, battle, demon, death, sword, north. Anyway.
Yes. I thought you were going to say it's that demon girl that gave him the eye, and I was going to be like, man, this is the coolest thing I've ever heard. Mushoku Tensei, this girl is the greatest now. She's like telling us that Rudy's the strongest of all time, and she's over here. I'm like, this is like some cool lore shit that I can hear in a cool YouTube video that would sell me on Mushoku Tensei. Where it'd be like, and then he meets this one weird girl, and she's weird pranking, and it's like the first tease of this character that's going to be super important later on. I don't know. Why'd they cut that shit, EliteAri? This anime fucking sucks.
True. I think we'll get more details and stuff. Don't worry about it, alright? You'll get everything your heart desires, I'm sure.
It's funny, because I feel like I'm gonna like this. I guess I'm mad at myself for never liking that sort of stuff on the first time through, of being like, oh, who's the sword god? And thinking about it. Like, they just said it, and I was like, oh, there's 7 of them. I'm sure we'll meet them someday. That'll be fun. Right. But like, if I was like, that's how I was sold on One Piece. I watched the PCP University One Piece lecture. In the first hour of it, they go through all the fucking lore shit and the 7 warlords of the sea and explain them all. And I'm like, oh, and then and there's like little teasers. And I'm like, oh, all the organizing and the structures and everything, all that being laid out at the beginning is like why I wanted to get into One Piece. And I was like, oh, that's why I thought it was cool initially. So in a video like that about Mushoku Tensei, this would have been the stuff that would sell me on it. But now I'm thinking, like, if I had just read One Piece blind, I'd probably have been like, what the fuck is this shit? Let's move on. So it's interesting that I know this is sort of fascinating to me, but in a narrative context, it isn't. It's only interesting in a lore video on YouTube. I don't know. There's a weird conflict going on inside me right now, EliteAri. But yeah, I'm like, the mystery of the weird little fucking girl thingy is intriguing me now.
Yes, okay. Jesus, alright. I'm just thinking, yeah, I should make one of those videos. That'd be a fun thing to make. But the thing I think is interesting is the fact that the lore itself can tell a story. And just having a video on the lore itself is kind of engaging in its own right, because it says so much about the world itself. I don't know. It's interesting.
But then they're kind of undone because the protagonist just wins in the end, huh? And beats up all the cool lore people.
Sure, yeah.
That's why we hate protagonists.
Yeah, we like the nice, we like the, well, I was gonna say Levi, but he always wins. I don't know.
Yeah, just quickly on that point, that all those Fear and Hunger videos I was watching recently, which was the video game that Super Eye Patch Wolf did a video on that I talked about a little bit. Like, even in that, a lot of those videos are like lore videos about like the different types of gods and shit and that, which is something I think I was interested in for like 2 days and will probably never think about again. But even that was like solid, and there's like tiers of gods, and there's like this dude, and it's a cool design, and just that stuff's interesting, EliteAri. What the fuck?
I think what's interesting is that I haven't seen many series or anything, but for Mushoku Tensei, specifically in the light novels and everything, that thing you were talking about Rudy like experimenting with magic and stuff early on, there's so many details like that just for the entire world, where it like he figures out these mechanics and stuff that relate to something you saw like ages ago, and it's like, oh, this explains that, and it's all tying together. Like, I think it's very well thought out in Mushoku Tensei, uniquely so compared to other things I've seen, purely because of how inquisitive Rudius is.
Because he was thinking about all this stuff instead.
I have no idea. We'll have to see if the
God, that would be such a good hack YouTube video. You could even have a prescriptive reason why something sucks. Oh, let me make hack YouTube videos.
Yeah, people love Mushoku Tensei videos, right? All right. Let's go back to this recap here. Jesus, how long have we been going? We're running out of time.
We already talked about everything.
Oh boy. All right, let me blast through the recap then. They decide to swap. Oh, we already talked about that. Returning to Rikarisu, Nokapra threatens to out their party. Rudy kills it. Oh, Rudy is about to kill everyone, actually. That was interesting. He like almost summons the
Oh, that was a cool
cumulonimbus
part.
storm, and he's like, I'm prepared to kill everyone here if I have to. But then Ruijerd steps in and they leave.
Them teasing it is cool, where he was like nearly going to do it there, and then he does do it, and I
Yeah.
was like, oh, he's going to do it when he does it in the flaming thingy later on.
And it kind of shows you how powerful like a magician can be in this world. Like he could have killed that entire city if he just chose to flood it. It's crazy.
There's there's also the cool moment where Richard realizes what he's going to do and is like, what's he doing? And that was cool and stuff.
Yep. Okay, Ruijerd and Rudy have a conversation about warriors. We talked about that. Roxy, joined by Talhand and Alinalize, as they search for Paul's family after finding his message requesting help from everyone who is willing.
Oh, what a scene that was! That was cool at the beginning, and then you see him, and you're like, "Oh, these are more of the party." Which I think we've met 5 of them now. The 6th one's going to be super mysterious and strong and partially evil, and we're going to have to fight him one day or something. That's how the cookie usually crumbles here. Remember when I used that idiom before? Now I used it again.
I'm surprised you kept track of that. But yeah, there's one person you haven't seen left yet. That's really interesting. Okay.
But yeah, Roxy showing up there was cool, and she's like, "Where's the names?" And I thought she was going to see like Sylvia Fiat and fucking dead, and that was going to be cool.
Yeah.
But nobody's name was on the thing. She sure came running for somebody that she lived with for like 6 months. That was interesting.
Yep.
Also, I guess the other party members' commitment to them is also interesting.
Yeah, how they say they hate Paul, but they're still here to help him. Yeah. I think that opening of that episode where they're Paul is reading his letter basically and saying like, what does he say? He's like,
oh yeah,
I've lost like everything is gone. I've lost all my fortune. I have nothing to give you. I know everyone hates me, but please, like, I will be so grateful for anyone who can help me find my family. I have nothing and I just want them back. That's like, oh, I've rewatched this scene so many times now, since seeing it. God, what a scene! Yeah, what a scene! I cried so much. Oh God, it's so good. Anyway,
we're redeeming this fucking Paul.
No, it just I think one aspect is just it shows how much he trusts Rudy. One aspect, which is that he basically is like, Rudy, I know you're fine. Just like, you don't have to come back. Just go and search the continent, basically, because he's like, I know Rudy's gonna be okay. It's the other people in my family that need help. And he basically tells Rudy, go search an entire continent. Like, you'll be fine. It's interesting.
Yeah. Which factors into his frustration later when he hasn't been doing that.
Yeah.
Should have talked about his expectations or something. But as the Crunchyroll comment said, he's like 10 years old, question mark, question mark, question mark. What did Paul want him to do?
All right, we're not talking about this yet, all right? Let's keep going through these Rikarisu stuff. What else?
Wait, I think I had something to say about Roxy meeting him and that being cool. But I don't have anything to say. I have something to say about Roxy, but that's when we're in the town.
All right, well, we're almost there. All right, miscellaneous note, Rudy being able to make water out of nothing is like a crazy survival ability thing. Like, initially when they're walking through the desert, and like, Jesus Christ, you could live forever. Like, you just have water.
Why didn't he just make money when they needed money?
Well, it's probably they probably have some anti-magician like technique, right, in their world.
Yeah, like, I thought about that too. But I feel like that's something every hack YouTuber brings up whenever there's a series with magic. Just magic everything. How does the economy work? Why do they need food?
Yeah.
It's a fucking stupid thing. Whatever. Who cares?
All right. My last note for this Rikarisu thing is about Eris's gradual development in respect to Rudius and Ruja. It's interesting. Well, she does actually, yeah, she does get older, I guess, as time goes on. We'll talk about the timeline later. But yeah, so Rudius, I think she just respects Rudius a lot, and kind of how she has Ghislaine and she has her grandfather. It seems like she's trying to be like Rudius in a way as well, like mimicking some of his, like the way he would behave in certain situations and trying to stop Ruijerd from doing things and being like, I learned stuff from Rudius, and I don't know, I thought that was all interesting. And the other aspect is she's starting to see Ruijerd as kind of like a superhero as well, where like he was asking about how, like, can you run across the water? Like, why do we need to get you in a boat? I thought that was really funny.
That was funny.
Yeah. But that's it for this first arc here.
Remember when Goku swam across the continent to get to the martial arts tournament? Man, he's cooler than this fucking dweeb.
True, yeah, Goku would probably win in a fight.
True.
All right. Windport. Oh, much shorter recap. Look at this. I'm sure you have a lot of notes for this, but the first thing, the party arrives at a city on the ocean. They have to cross the ocean to get to the Millis continent, but taking a superb with you is ridiculously expensive, even if they're a fake superb.
Yeah, that was interesting. I do want to say that beach things are interesting. A big thing about this another thing about the world building in the show is all the different sort of environments, and we're sort of
Hmm.
like clearly the last city looks like one of those cities we have in real life.
Yep.
The ones with like the water and stuff in Italy or something. And the other one looks like a sandy sort of thingy, like that was in that Uncharted 3 game. And there's like a beach town here, and then there's a jungle village with native seeming people, etc., etc. I like the variety, especially this early. And seeing the characters in these different uh sort of, what do you call them?
Settings.
Context, environments. Yeah. It's like there's a moment in Berserk when you hit the beach and it's like, oh, there's
Yeah.
fucking beaches in Berserk. That's fucking insane. And it's kind of reminds you of the diversity of your own planet. And you're like, man, all these different contexts exist on our planet too. That's wacky. And like,
Yep.
because you might like a story that happens entirely in the snow or something, you sort of think of like, oh, this is going to be cold and depressing or something. And to be like, that's on the same planet, where an equally weird story about heat can happen on a beach somewhere. I don't know. There's just something about that that's fascinating in my brain. And especially when a
Mm.
fake world tries to have them all and sort of balance the tones and does it, it's kind of cool.
Yep. I agree. A lot of different settings. The sky is yellow in the demon continent. I thought that's a really interesting thing. Like it really differentiates it from the normal.
I did not notice that at all.
Yeah.
That's
Well, I
okay.
think it's one of those subtle things where you don't have to notice it. It shapes how you see it
It'll
anyway.
tonally affect your perception.
Yeah, it's a thing JoJo's Bizarre Adventure does as well in part 4, which is really interesting.
JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is in black and white, you fucking idiot.
Yeah, true. That's why there's so many. All the characters, their hair changes colors and everything because there is no canonical color or whatever. It's really cool. Um,
Yeah, glad you
okay.
backed up my point.
Yeah. So it's been around a year since their last meeting, and the man god reappears to Rudy. He tells him to buy food and walk through the back alleys. So then, when doing that, Rudius runs into the great emperor of the demon world, Kishirisu, who gives him the demon eye of foresight for repayment for feeding her, I guess.
You're telling me you've never seen this character before?
I think I've definitely seen this character before. I think that's the point. She's meant to be a trope, right? She is like the person who obviously this really old person who is who looks very young, who's very
Well, I didn't even think
energetic,
that
but
part. Just a wacky little
yeah, very
girl.
energetic
Yeah,
and
actually super
wacky, and
powerful.
yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like this with all the characters.
I just feel like this with Kishirika, and I think that's the point of her character, is to be this person that you're expecting. I guess it's meant to be this. It is the subversion itself is predictable. In that, I guess I wouldn't say it's predictable, but there is a subversion there, right? Where you're meant to think that this girl who isn't the great demon lord,
Well, I literally
is,
thought that until you spoiled it for me in this very thing. So
well, I mean, okay, fair enough. She literally, yeah, okay, sure. It could be. Maybe I could be lying to you. This is a 2-dimensional trap of a 3-dimensional world or something. I don't know.
I feel like another thing I've just realized about my point here is that it's all personality based, not necessarily like actually character based, and sort of the archetype thing.
Sure, yeah.
Like Eris isn't really like Asuka, like plot wise at all, but it's
Or
just like the
character wise.
personality. Yeah. Well, character-wise, kind of similar, I guess, in the broadest sense. But yeah, it
Well, I
is.
would say the difference is that personality kind of feels like a very high level description of a character, whereas character feels like a more of a low level description where you talk about their details, kind of. That's what I would say the
Yeah,
difference is. And I feel like you're saying their personality, their high level details are quite similar, but when you dive into
yeah.
it, they're quite different. Um, yeah. Okay. Yeah, I just love her introductory scene. I think it's so cool. They go over the
Well,
top
actually,
with
that
it.
wasn't her introductory scene. Her introductory scene was in episode 8.
Okay, sorry. Her meeting with Rudius, all right? The first time she interacts with a character, I
Yeah, it
like
was
that.
pretty cool. I thought she was fun.
She flips around, does a cool thing. Anyway, great
And
stuff.
she nearly has sex with him, bro. That was pretty funny, I remember.
Yeah, true. She offers him these 3 things and she denies all of them because she can't do it. And she says she's married,
Yeah,
right? That's
that
why
was
she
also
can't.
funny.
Or she's engaged or something, yeah.
Yeah, I think she did say that. But yeah, she has no food to give because she's a bum, and that was funny.
Oh, and I guess the reason I didn't think it was a spoiler to confirm it's her is the fact that Ruja later acknowledges it, and she's like, "Oh, so the demon emperor has returned or whatever." So
Yeah, that
Ruja
feels
does know
more
about
like
her.
the bit. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Um.
I assume she was obviously going to be important in some regard, but or that she would eventually get the. Maybe I thought we were doing an Usopp situation where eventually they would actually become strong, and as like their claims would become true because she's funny and
Interesting.
stuff, but that they hadn't been. But now she used to own a skyscraper, and she's from like 2023, so that's interesting.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
guess skyscrapers are in Mad Men, and that's like the 60s. So I brought up Mad Men somehow. Oh, I already did it before anyway. Never mind.
Yes. Well done. I brought up Mad Men the first time here, I think, in the tier list. Okay. So yeah,
True.
Kishirika. Yeah, I said the man god is a perfect adaptation, like with his stuff going on there. Kishirika is another perfect adaptation. This is exactly what I imagined when I'm reading it. It's perfect. And there's one more yet to come that we haven't seen yet that is a perfect adaptation of anything I've ever seen in
I
my
don't know if
life.
you're allowed to comment on this since this was your first introduction to it. So you were always colored and blinded, no matter how much you try, by these perceptions of
Very
things.
true, but I would
So
say that there are things in this where I'm like, this is not a good adaptation. But I mean, it is a good
yeah,
adaptation.
you
It's
can
not a
definitely have
perfect
that feeling in
adaptation.
retrospect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, she gives a demon eye to Rudius, which
And
can
you can
see the
see
future a
the
little bit.
this might have been the Naruto thing because it's the Sharingan, bro. It's an eye thing, and you can see the future slightly, and that's initially what the
Crazy.
Sharingan was. But then
It's
it
just like
was a
Aki
bunch
in
of other
Chainsaw
things.
Man. Oh my god, crazy.
Oh
Um,
yeah, but Aki
it's a thing.
sucks, and Sasuke
Yeah,
is
true,
cool.
true. Yeah. Um, but this seems to imply that I wonder if you picked up on it. Did you pick up on anything with this eye stuff? This seems to imply.
He's got a demon eye. He can see the future.
True.
It was cool how he had to like test it and stuff. That was some of that magical testing stuff, but I don't think I understand the
Yeah.
implication of
Or it
your
depends on how much
comment.
mana he puts into it. He can see further into the future. Um, but yeah, and also the fact that his eye is like a different color now in every shot we see. He's got like two different colored eyes.
Yeah,
That's a funny thing to keep track of when they're like trying to animate
like
this.
Tyrion,
Um,
bro.
yeah, true. I don't think they did that in the show though. Not that I remember.
No, I
Um,
don't think so.
yeah, okay. The thing this is meant to imply, interestingly enough, is that Ghislaine, when she took off her eye patch in the episode 8, she had like a different
Oh
colored green
yeah,
eye, which was interesting. Which implies that to
bro. It's
her,
just like Kakashi from Naruto when he has a hidden
yeah, maybe.
Sharingan. Oh my god.
I got no idea. But in Mishoku Tensei, yeah, it just implies that like even Rujert, he was talking about how there was this super once who had a demon eye, but it took him his whole life to master it. And this seems to imply that like Rudius has mastered it so quickly, but Ghislaine has to
Oh,
cover it
that's
with an
why
eye patch.
Ghislaine has to cover it up
Yeah,
because she can't figure it out because she doesn't know magic because she's a big dumb fucking animal girl.
yeah. It's a cool small implication from something earlier. Um, okay,
I wonder if
then
the Mushoku Tensei community hates Rudy like the Naruto community hates Naruto because he cheated to get strong and he just was granted all this
well,
mana
that's
slash
exactly what I
power.
was going to talk about now, which is that Rudius uses his demon eye and beats Eris in a fight, and then feels very bad about it because it's like she's been working hard, and I kind of I cheated
Oh
to get
yeah, I
away.
was kind of making fun of that point, but then I was like, yeah, that's not cool. Eris should have won, bro.
Yeah.
So I am what I hate, and I hate what I am.
Yep. Because she finally felt like she was making progress because she got that accidental hit on Ruijerd when he was looking at Eris, not Eris, Roxy. Um,
Yes.
so she got an
Roxy was
inflated
there,
ego
and they
there.
didn't need EliteAri. Is this where we talk about this?
We got one point here. Rudy goes to sell Aquahardia, but is stopped by Ruijerd, who tells him that he is willing to turn a blind eye to all the evil until they cross the ocean. That's a pretty big character moment for him, right?
So hold on, this is actually something I forgot. He saves the smuggler dude from getting hit in the head with a thing or something, right?
Yep.
Or is that a different
Using his
character?
eye
Right,
of
it was the
foresight.
smuggler dude.
Yep. The
Yeah,
smuggler
okay.
dude who he eventually kills later on in the Beast Village. Yeah.
Yeah, he was super strong and stuff. That was crazy.
Yeah.
But
North
yeah, we
Saint.
under Roxy now.
Yes. So meanwhile, Roxy is also at Winport with Elise and Talahand. We get a flashback to apparently Nokapro or something. I guess we'll see what happens there. But yeah. So Roxy, what's going on?
So they didn't see him, and I was trying to figure out if they were going to meet, if we were just keeping it off for an episode, because I was
Hmm.
invested in this reunionation.
Yep.
What do you call those? Reunion.
Yep.
Um, So I was like, oh, and the fact that they didn't do it was actually really surprising. I was mad, and I wanted to cancel the whole show. Um, and
Mm,
them just missing each other, but obviously that's to tease you and make fun of you and stuff. I don't know. I just was so certain that they didn't, and when they didn't, actually that they would, and then when they didn't, I was kind of surprised. And I don't know how I feel about it overall. I'm sure the reunion will be fun when we eventually get it. Um,
sure.
Something and this ties back into our old thinking about genericism, what good is and isn't good about the show. I think the sex stuff, now that we've come around on it, is one of the things that's actually unique about the show. We talked about this last time with the parents fucking in the background all the time and everybody being sexually frustrated around them, including Lilia and Roxy, etc., and even
Mm,
Rudy, I guess, for a little bit. And the poking on the bum, we liked that. While she was gardening, you remember EliteAri.
of course.
So that's one of the good things about the show. And to reiterate this, when Roxy's showing up, and because she's been sort of the I wrote down here the lost maternal figure through the letters and seeing her oh never mind, that's the spoiler of the point I'm trying to get to. But we've been seeing these letters. Obviously, she's been getting groped and then burned this little kid. She obviously ran away. I don't know if that place got destroyed or something. But she ran away to go and see if Rudy and shit were all right. That's how she ended up in this situation. So she seemed very responsible, and for whatever reason, I've characterized this as maternal.
Mm,
And then when she shows back up, and I think it's when they get to this city, and she's kind of being like a petulant little fucking teenager, even though she's 50 years old again, it was kind of cute, and it was like, oh yeah, she is a character. And I liked that.
I
That was the big
absolutely
point.
agree. I also had a very similar point to that, which is that like up until this point, rather than a maternal figure, but I guess maternal kind of fits. You see her as Rudy's teacher, basically. That's like the context you see her in, and kind of
Yeah.
guiding him and helping him leave the village and everything. But I think what's really interesting here is kind of what you were saying, which is that these episodes with her in a different dynamic with people who are equals, basically, you see that she is just a person. And what it reminded me of a lot is when you see your teachers in public and you realize that they're actual people with actual lives and they have like personalities and dynamics and all this. And it's like, that's really strange. So it really fleshes her out
Huh.
as an actual person rather than a mentor. I thought that was really interesting and cool.
I definitely understand that experience with the teachers in real life, but I don't think that's the same as this situation at all. Um,
Okay. Interesting.
I feel like it's a return to what was like interesting about her, besides being this like character that you do the I'll remember her game with every time we get a letter. Um,
Yep.
so I was like, cool. Oh, and the sex stuff that I was bringing up was all going to go into this because she's still horny now, and I thought that was cute, and I liked that as again part of our characterization that we hadn't seen in the letter stuff. Um,
Mm.
but yeah, she's like watching Gangbang Girl go and
Lionel
talk to a
eyes.
bunch of dudes, and yeah, Gangbang Girl, and she's like, she's frustrated. She's like, oh, I kind of want to do that, but she's doesn't want to because she's a good maiden or some shit. Um, but yeah, that was all interesting. And then again, she gets the flashback to weird horse dude. That's weird.
Mm.
Um, but yeah, that was all cool stuff when we started to actually see um her
We see her
being
perspective of the events at
yeah,
Woodport.
yeah. It was cool, bro.
Oh,
Roxy's
then she
pretty
like
cool. Like
fantasizes
sexist
about
character.
like the life she wants to have and everything. Yeah, with the
Oh
Lionel
yeah, she
eyes.
has a very romantic thing
Yeah.
about in response to the gangbang. Now let's talk about the gangbang for a second. When she first went into the thing, because obviously older woman that's lustful flirts with the men. Seen this a million times. What I haven't seen is the follow through Elite Ari, and I was like, what if she just gangbanged him? That'd be fucking funny. I guess they gangbang her because she doesn't have a bunch of girls around. And
Hmm.
then it actually happened. Because I
Yep.
remember I remember there's moaning in the previous episode because I think this is the between episodes where I took the big break, which is kind of weird because these two were very connected.
Hmm.
So I vaguely remember the moaning. So I was like, oh, she's probably with a dude to seduce him. And then when it was like the five dudes and it was five dudes from the alley, I was like, oh, this is the greatest show of all time. That's
Yep.
some unique shit I ain't never seen before. And I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. What was generic was Roxy's reaction to it. I thought it would have been so much cooler if she like slowly walked out and pretended she didn't see it, or even if she jerked off outside.
Hmm.
But instead she just did the scream thing, and that's some lame anime shit that I've seen a million times.
Yeah, we
But
hate generic
overall,
things. Yeah.
it
True.
was a good It was a good scene and addition. And then her having the very traditional getting saved thing. Also not very feminist. We got a cool girl again that wants to be saved by some dumb man because she can't take care of herself. Embarrassing. We hate that.
Yeah, we hate Roxy.
It was cool because she's going to fucking end up with Rudius, who isn't like that because they're both actually 50.
Right.
Oh my god, he might actually be the same age as her if you do the math. Probably not. He's probably like 40s.
Well, he was
He's probably nearly
34,
50.
so yeah, something like
I
that.
thought he was
Yeah.
37, so he's not as close as I think.
Yeah.
So he's probably like 46 or some shit now since he's like 12.
Something
Never
like
mind,
that.
they're not the same age because she's like 57 or something.
Yep.
But he ends up with her because so he can avoid any thingy. Roxy's pretty cool though.
Yes.
Second best character.
The
in the
narrative
show.
will avoid the moral quandary.
Maybe she's the best character, huh? This
Who,
Eris
Roxy?
girl fucking crying and shit all the time, especially when she's defending Ghislaine. That pissed me off. I didn't like that.
I'm sure you could imagine like the anime fandom who's only seen the anime talking about like who's the best girl of the show, you know? There's a lot of debates, I'm
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Those are the two main girls, huh? Unless you're a
Yeah.
real pedo and you're like the fucking 5-year-old. That's Sylphie, who I'm referring to, obviously.
Yeah. We only got 2 episodes of Sylphie, I think, right?
Yes.
Something like that. All right. So,
Oh, I have generic taste. Is that what you would say? Because we've been talking about generic all the time, and you flipped it back on me with that insult, EliteAri. That'd be clever.
Yep. All right.
But yeah, Roxy was cool and stuff, and then she was gone already.
True. They travel across the sea, and Rudius looks after Eris, who is very seasick. Any thoughts on that stuff?
She was very excited at the beginning, and then very sick. That was funny. We talked about the meta stuff with the island, etc.
Yep.
For a second there, the other meta thing jumped into my brain. It like flashed like a frame.
What
and then
a
disappeared
shame.
immediately. It was like it was something to do with the island speculation. I'm thinking about Castaway or something, or a movie I haven't seen on an island. Remember when on the 18th Pokemon episode they get the shipwrecked? Great episode. But no, it's gone. I can't get it back.
All right, well, on the boat thing, Eris like throwing up and everything and being like having a fever or just being completely out of it, and she doesn't like care at all about her clothes being undone or like all messy and like revealing her body and everything is the most relatable thing ever. Like when I am sick, I am just like I am out of it. Like when I'm at home by myself, I just don't care about anything. I'll just like I'm just sick right now, you know? God. Anyway,
man, it's been so long since I've actually been sick. I guess when I had COVID, I felt pretty sick. But besides that, I don't think, like, as a real person, I was ever sick. Like, I had tons of sick days off school. I'd learned how to fake that shit pretty good. But, yeah. EliteAri nearly died one time, and we didn't record Black Sails for, like, a month. So that was funny.
That was terrible. I don't want to think about that, God.
I don't know. I've never been lewd because I've been sick is what I'm trying to think. They are really going on with her body. I guess they were already doing that, but she's very muscly now, too. Yeah. Rudy actually fucking jerks off because his dick works now because he's that old. Yep. So that's interesting, I guess. Yeah. But yeah, that's what I remember about that scene.
Cool. So Rudius goes to the smuggling hideout to get Ruijerd, but Ruijerd tells him that they killed the child just because they were too loud, and then he kills all the smugglers, while Rudy frees all the little beast children.
Yes.
So yeah, cool. Ruijerd, he probably feels pretty terrible being there.
Me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, why are they got Sigurd? I nearly said Sigurd. That's that dude from Vinland Saga. Spurred or whatever the fuck his name is. Ruijerd. Why they got him in chains and shit? Like, who are we pretending for right now? And I think it was explained at the end, but I don't remember. So the plot probably made sense, and I was just not paying attention. But yeah, they kill everybody.
So there was one guy, the smuggler guy, who knew that Ruijerd wasn't actually a smuggling victim, though he had just had to deal with Rudius. So all the other people there were like, okay, we're smuggling a Superd for someone, and that someone was Rudius. When Rudius showed up, they were going to give it to him. It's like Rudius bought him or something.
Oh, I assumed they were all on the boat together, now.
No, definitely not.
Well, that explains it.
Yep. So, yeah, while they're there, they see this giant dog. It's crazy with this interesting magical looking circle under him, which creates a barrier.
EliteAri, if you invented this dog, you would be a billionaire right now. I bet this dog's on all the plushes. You'd buy all the
Good
plushes.
point.
I mean, he is the plushes.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, here's Pikachu here, making us $1 billion. What a cute little animal. I did
Yep.
like, by the way, that what the fuck is his name? How have I forgotten his name
Which
halfway through
one?
this? Our big muscly
Rudyard.
man, our Levi, Rigid. I like that he could just break out at any time. I was like, what the fuck is he
Mm.
doing? Why are you putting him in a cage? This isn't gonna work. And obviously they weren't clued in, so I guess. But yeah, the fact that
Yep.
he could just break out at any time and fuck everybody up real quick was
And his
cool.
hair had grown
And
back.
obviously, yes, it was a little weird. And there's obvious drama when he's like, when they escape and then Rudy wants to go back in. You're like, oh, there's going to be like 2 of them alive down there. Because obviously we're separating the party here. That's what the setup
Mm.
is. This has never not happened in a TV show of all time. You might call it
Generic.
never mind. But yeah, and then there's obviously going to be a twist, and it's actually the other people show up to save the kids themselves, and they misunderstand, etc., etc.
Yeah, they yell at him and paralyze him.
Yes, because he was fucking the dog. They thought
Yeah.
the dog was in heat, which is something I learned. That I've had a weird like last 5 days with the term in heat, which I
Okay.
think because there's a Preston video where he talks about how Loras beat the Mountain in fucking Game of Thrones season 1 and in the books because Gregor was riding a fucking big stallion and he had a pretty little girl thingy. And I think, and there's a Preston video where he talks about the differences between the show and the thing. I fall asleep to these videos every night. And he says like, oh, he had a stallion in heat. And I've always been like, did Preston fuck up this line? What the fuck does that mean? He had him in heat? Like it was hot that day? I had no idea what this term meant. And then I think I was watching a Destiny stream or some shit. Something explained it to me. And then later that night, I fell asleep to that very Preston What You Were Missing episode. I was like, that's what that meant. And then the next day, I watched this fucking episode and they bring up this term. This term has just evaded me my entire life. And then I had it like 3 times in 2 days and I was like, what the fuck? It's like there's weird coincidences like that where you're trying to figure out in your head if like I'm only noticing this because now I understand this subject and it's like pattern recognition. I'm recognizing shit, or if this is just a hell of a coincidence. But Mushoku Tensei added to this, and I was like, in heat means the dog wants to fuck EliteAri. In case you didn't know.
Yeah, crazy. I had heard of that.
Yes, and he was talking about it because the red pillars were trying to say that's what women do or something, and he's like, no, there's like data on this. They don't do that. Red pillars being stupid, EliteAri. Imagine that.
Yeah, who could believe?
They were calling women animals, EliteAri.
Sacred Beast. The Sacred Beast was there. He's giant. He has some lore behind him, I guess.
Conveniently, the Sacred Beast is going with us, so we can sell even more puppy toys.
Wait, what do you mean? Oh, I guess he's going with them to the Beast Village.
Oh yeah, that's right. He didn't end up going with them. Didn't like the dumb girl say that like at some point the Beast is gonna leave with a party or some shit, and then I just assumed that it left with them, but it wasn't within the next episode, Lamau.
Yeah, let me see where I put this note on the Sacred Beast. Okay, so the Sacred Beast.
It wasn't Rudy? What the fuck?
So the Sacred Beast has always appeared when the world is in peril. When it reaches maturity, it will journey forth with a hero. That's the lore behind the Sacred Beast. So yeah.
We obviously got to go back to this dumb fucking village for this girl to be strong next time and all grown up. And that's when Rudy's going to come back and he's going to be the thingy. Or it's
so
just
Rudy is the hero.
It's like a Hobbit situation where the dude that kills the dragon is just some other random dude, even though we got fucking 15 dwarves back here. There's actually 13 of them, I think. And they don't kill this fucking dumb dragon. It's fucking Bale the Bard or whatever the fuck his name is. I think that's a Game of Thrones thing. What the fuck is that idiot's name?
I don't know. I haven't watched this.
You saw The Hobbit.
No,
remember? No way.
All right, we got limited time here, right?
Son?
Let's keep going. We got a lot of notes to get through.
We're nearly done.
We're not. So Rudius is a prisoner at the Doldia Village, and he gets a cellmate in Geese. A man with monkey-like facial features is how he's described in the light novel, but they don't really just... I think he looks really good in this.
Yeah, he looks like Lupin the Third, bro, and he's like stealing shit. I think that's what Lupin the Third does. My last note, I think we've done all of them except for this one. There's a little scene before this geese prick shows up. where
Mm.
Rudy, Rudy's like in the cell and he's like writing shit on the thing. It's like that Black Sails bit where they're caught by the natives on that one island. You remember the Marooners? Yeah,
Yep.
that's exactly what you were thinking, like I was thinking. Um, and he's trapped in there for like the first 5 minutes of the episode or something. And there's the big titty girl that rocks up and she's bouncing and it's hot and stuff. And he's writing on the wall trying to figure out how many days it's been. And there's
Mm-hmm.
one scene where it's like fading in and out, and the scenes are doing that. And there's one time it fades back in dramatically, and there's like a long close up because there's a lot of establishing shots in this because we're trying to convey boredom and time passing. And
Mm.
it just like stays on Rudy for like 5 seconds, and then he just says, "I'm bored," and then he collapses, and then we dramatically fade out again.
Mm.
That was the cleverest thing the show had ever done. It was the best part of this show. It was so fucking good. Uh, I just
Wow.
wrote
All
down
right.
as my note, "I'm bored" was great, and it was such a good little subversion of clearly we're fading back in because you're expecting, oh, he's gonna have a epiphany of how to get out of here so we can move this fucking episode along. He's been in
Mm.
this fucking cell for so long, and it was just like, nope, I'm bored. And like, oh yeah, it would be boring to be held captive and shit in jail. What a
Yep.
funny little gag.
So I had a separate
That
takeaway
wasn't
from
generic
this
at all.
related to that, which is that in that scene, in the initial part of that episode, he is basically describing this fantasy, right? Like talking about, oh, this rent-free place I get to live. It's a nice accommodation. I have
Oh
this and this
yeah,
and
that
this.
was one of the meta
Um,
moments. Yeah.
yeah, I thought that was really cool. And the reason I bring it up is the fact that this kind of like fantasy that Rudy is describing, where he's like, he's got the reality and then he's like kind of mapping it onto something he knows from his past life or whatever. This is something that the light novel does quite a lot. Not quite a lot. Like it happens every now and then. And it was interesting to see how they adapted it. Like they didn't actually like change it to make it actually look like Rudy's fantasy. Like other anime could do that, right? Where it's like, oh, why is he in a modern setting now? He's dreaming this or something. But no, they just like frame it as though it's like in his actual world here. That
He
was
was doing
interesting.
like a TV commercial for it. It was funny.
Yeah. But yeah,
And
that's
obviously the reveal at the end that it's like hanging in the thing, I didn't even see it coming, and I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yep. All right. The village is attacked, so Rudius and Geese save the village, and they fight a North Saint and win. Crazy. And this is like the
it's
first
another
glimpse
thing.
into the North God style here. But yeah.
It's another thing where he could have broken out at any time, but he's trying to like figure out what the fuck to happen, and he doesn't want to be lost in the jungle. That was all clever. But
Yeah.
yeah, so he's a North Saint style. Is that what you just said?
Well, he's the North God style is the fighting style, and the level he's at is a North Saint, so he's Saint level, like Rudy's
Now
cumulativeness.
that's the fourth one out of five, out of six, out of
Yeah,
five,
out of 7.
out of seven.
Yep. Above
Depends on
him
what
would be
percentage.
King, Emperor, and God.
And then there's 3 below him. All right, I figured it out. So he's like a medium level strength. He was pretty strong. We needed Rudy, a dog, and a monkey to beat him. That was pretty funny.
Yep.
This was the best fight in the show because I legitimately thought either the dog or the geese dude could die because
Mm-hmm.
Rigid wasn't around, and like both of them could easily be tragic deaths. Like the geese monkey dude reminded me of that one dude in the Kung Fu episode of Cowboy Bebop where he's like trying to get the medicine for his sister or whatever, and he
True.
dies at the end. And I was like, oh, this is gonna be this dude. And then the dog, obviously, you can have a dog die. That'd be pretty sad.
Mm.
So the tensions were high, and I was riding every moment of EliteAri, and it was a good episode. Fighting is good. Mushoku Tensei does have the kind of Naruto shit of like anything can happen in fights that seems cool or
Mm.
plausible, unlike this shit Hana Hana nonsense where it's like all fucking grounded and explained and boring.
Yep.
Um, so it was cool. He was like firing little rock bullets, and then they were doing big twists and stuff, and the dog was biting things, and I don't remember what else was happening.
It's a great
Sword
tag
clashes,
team.
etc.
Yeah. The
Yeah.
guy was using hostages as well. The young people.
Yes, he was.
Yep.
But
And using
yeah,
the
they like
darkness.
to sell the fucking beast people to like
True.
Eris's
True.
family.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. You did mention that last time where you were like, I wonder if this slavery thing will come in. But yeah, it did.
It better come in more because I'm not satisfied. Well, I guess their place got blowed up, huh? Hey, did we skip over the episode where the grandfather got fucking
No,
killed?
we're getting
Or is
there. We're
that
getting there. Let me look at this recap. So
okay?
Eris and Rujerd arrive, and the Beast People apologize for wrongly imprisoning Rudius. And there's a small moment here where like Rudius blushes and he has this emotional music playing and everything, and it clearly got to him emotionally when these people are like apologizing and thanking him for saving them. Which is interesting. Because I wonder if this is the first time that someone, like in a very long time, has thanked Rudius for doing something good, like sincerely thanked him. Because a lot of his life has just been like living and experiencing things, but no one's ever like been grateful for him. So that was really interesting. Then we get from this we get a few new characters. So we get Ghislaine's brother, Gyes, which I've always pronounced Geis, but apparently it's pronounced goose or something, like geese and goose or whatever. We get the old man village leader Gustav, and we get Minotona and Tursina, who are these two beast girls basically that are Eris's friends. All cool. I don't know if you have anything about those, but they're just characters.
The little girl shit was fun, even though I was shitting on it for being generic or something earlier.
Yep.
No, I was shitting on it for Eris being whiny. No? Maybe I was. I don't remember. I was complaining about something. It was pretty cool. I like that episode.
Cool. So then,
fuck,
Soros is executed for failing to respond appropriately to the mana disaster. And Darius
yeah, remember when he had that scene where he was like, I'm just going to pray it's not a big deal? Dumb fuck. Now he's dead.
Yep.
It was sad, though. But as the Crunchyroll comments pointed out, he was probably slaving and stuff, so good he's dead.
Jesus
and
Christ.
raping.
He
kidnapped a little girl and then raised her and then raped her.
The most simple-minded people in the world. Jesus. Yep. Eris, one of her biggest influences and role models in her life is dead. Yes, sad.
Yeah, because the transition is her saying, I wonder what grandfather would love it here or something. I wonder what he's doing. And then he dies, like, thinking of her. So that was cute. And his head rolled all the way over there, and we saw Silly for whatever the fuck in the corner with grey hair now. Did you see that one?
There was a person with white hair and glasses and stuff, yeah. Next to
well, no, it had a little hair pointing thing out. That's why I noticed it.
Sure.
Like on the front.
So you think that's Sylphiette?
Well, I thought that, and then I was like, it's probably not. It's probably a little fucking thing. And then the Crunchyroll comments said, I think I saw Celeste. I'm so smart.
Right.
Which doesn't really indicate it either way, but it just made me annoyed. So I didn't even want to bring it up. But you brought it up.
All right.
Even though I brought it up before.
Next up, we learn about Ghislaine. She was raised in this village, and she was basically a rabid animal.
Hold on. It doesn't make sense. Her family was poor. How is she a rich noble? Unless they were faking it because they're undercover to spy on Paul because they hate him.
Wait, who's this?
And Sylphie Fett.
How is she a rich noble? What are you talking about? Oh, you're trying to tie in those two characters together. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
I was saying that they can't be the same.
Sure.
Unless we were spying on Paul to blow it up. Oh, and there's the ugly count-looking dude who's clearly a bad guy because
Darius,
his bald egg head. Yeah.
Well, he's the new leader of
Fitoa. Yeah. I wonder what happened to Philip and the red-headed wife.
Sure. Yeah. Well, they weren't in. I guess the leader of Fitoa was the grandpa, so he would I guess be the most responsible for all of this. But
maybe the whole family was outlawed.
Maybe. I guess we might see. We might not. I guess I could ask this now. Where do you think this season will end? Do you think we'll return home by the end of the season?
Yeah. It seems like we're doing like 4-episode things here. We're like traveling around. Though I guess there were like 3 and then 2 and then 3 and then 1. So we reunited with Paul. I don't know. Maybe we'll finding Zenith in the well, I guess she's alone. I always imagined her with the fucking kid. Maybe she's with the other kid and the girl. That'd be funny. She killed him because she was finally mad about Paul.
Sure.
Maybe that's the last thing. Maybe we find her at the end of the series and that's becoming Hokage. Or maybe we just reunite. I don't know. I have no fucking idea.
Yep. Cool.
I assume we have to meet all the characters, like the dude that beat up a dragon and this dude that fought Ghislaine or whatever the fucking name is.
Yep. That's all in this season, or in the next 6-7 episodes or whatever.
Well, we at least got to do that stuff. I don't know.
Okay. Yep. So
I
learn
assume
about
there's
Ghislaine.
not a home to go back to, so I don't know.
Sure. All right. What else? Let me see. We spend time at the rainy season at the Doldia Village. Eris teaches her friend. Oh yeah, Eris becomes a teacher in terms of language as well. Like she's both a sword, like trying to teach this person to fight, but also to speak the human tongue, and she learns the beast tongue as well.
Yeah, they would sometimes they would say things wrongly in the language, and the other one would, yeah, it was cute.
Yep. Awesome. Yeah, but we've talked about all that. They have a fight. Eris holds back, and then they leave with like trinkets of like gifts or whatever. It's cool.
Oh, I had a moment like that in real life very recently where it was like,
Oh.
oh, you're probably never going to see this person again. And I nearly didn't see them the last day, but then I did. And it felt very good
Thank
to
God.
have that little bit of closure. And I was like, oh, this is like a moment like this. How relatable.
Well done.
So maybe that's why I liked it.
I can't relate, or maybe I can. I don't know. Good stuff. Then, well,
When you say goodbye to all your American friends at the end of this stint, EliteAri, you'll have the moment then.
I'm sure I will. Yep, they leave that place and go to Millis with Geese just hitching a ride with them.
Oh, we didn't really talk
making
about
his
Geese
grand
yet.
prison escape. Yeah, what do you think about Geese?
I thought he was cool.
I agree. I loved I remember the first time I watched, I was like, man, this just random guy shows up in jail and just joins them to Millis.
Yeah, it's
like
funny.
out of nowhere.
Because he seemed like a random guy. Like, again, he could get killed at the end of the episode, and then he stuck around and was traveling with them. And then I was like, oh, and he's also like, yeah, I ran away again, Lamau. And then I was like, hold on, the character design is a little bit too generic. And then, yeah, sure enough, he like jumps out. I'm sure we'll see him again, but he's not becoming a core member of the party, it seems. Or maybe he is, but I don't think so. So that was interesting. You can kind of tell through character design, just like you could tell bald egghead dude that was killing the grandpa was an evil prick just by seeing him the first time, and just like you could figure out that the kidnappers who were kidnapping the kid in the next episode weren't evil because they looked young and nice, just like the Band of the Hawk. You can just tell from these characters because ugly people are evil.
Yeah, like Nogapra the horse guy, the most evil person to exist. My God.
Yes.
With his children. All right.
Fuck them kids. Fuck, there was something else to say about Geese, but
let me think. He calls Rudy like what does he call him in the anime? Yeah, boss. That's it. That's
yeah,
what
he calls
say.
him boss. Yeah. The Crunchyroll comments liked Geese, so I hated him a little bit after that.
Sure, yeah. I'm scared. Like, how much of these do these actually spoil things in these comments? Like, I have no idea.
No,
like, are they
I
light novel
really
people? Or...
I think I read 2 episode comments. Like the rest of them, I forgot. But because yeah, it was funny because the grandfather one came from the same one as the Geese one. Now in these comments, they do have like spoiled, grayed out text, but they're just for that episode. Because I clicked on them, because of course. If you post something with spoiler things in the Discord, unless it's in the Berserk channel, like the Vinland Saga ones, I always read them. Like, I don't give a fuck about getting spoiled for this chapter. I'm going to read them because somebody posted something. Now, the Berserk ones, I don't. But in our Discord, if you post anything, especially in general chat, and you got the spoiler things, Miller, it's not working, you fucking idiot. I'm going to fucking read them. Now, the same with these Crunchyroll comments. Even if they were spoiling, just like I like to scroll down and look at the thumbnails a little bit. Fuck you.
No, you love those little spoilers.
So I don't remember any thumbnails for the next group of episodes.
All right, good. All right, let's see what else. The village is great. We talked about Eris stuff. She cares about Ghislaine. She's a mentor now. She looked after the little beast children when Ruijerd was like dealing with the misunderstanding stuff. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, she protected them.
And yeah, because she loves the little beast people. They're so cute. Rudy. Oh, one big thing is that Rudy hasn't made any progress with magic whatsoever. Like in the past, like ever since I guess becoming a saint with
because he's like
with Roxy.
All tired, right?
Sure, yeah.
After he uses one. What else?
Wait, what are you talking about? All tired.
He uses a spell at some point. I don't remember what point it is. It's in one of these 8 episodes, and he's like, "Oh, I'm tired. I've used up all my mana or something."
Whoa, I don't know about that. I don't remember that.
When he uses the fucking cloud one or something, maybe I don't remember. No, because he uses stuff afterwards. But there's definitely a part. I don't think he says I used up all my mana, but he says like, "Oh, I can only do it." I don't know. He says something because he doesn't say I can only do it once either. But he makes some sort of a comment about I'm tired or something.
I honestly, I can't remember. I don't think so far. I don't think we've seen anything.
Well, then what the fuck indicates that he hasn't made any progress? Then EliteAri.
Well, what has he learned? Like he's still a saint. Like he hasn't learned anything beyond Cumulonimbus. He hasn't done anything new. He hasn't practiced any magic. Nothing. He's just the same person he was like 5 years ago, right? I mean, in terms of magic.
I don't know. I didn't realize he was a saint or whatever.
Oh, he did the Cumulonimbus as a saint class spell, so he's a magic saint or something. I don't know.
Well, I forgot about that. But also, Roxy said that she was a king level now, and he was impressed by
Yeah.
that. So I guess that makes sense because it's a step above him.
People know Roxy. That was another thing we didn't talk about. Where they're like,
Oh,
she
yeah.
like meets the people and she's like, are you Roxy McGurdiger? It's like, whoa, I guess she being a king is like a big deal, I guess. Not many magic kings there.
Yeah, because there's like other young people that are like, you want to join our fucking shit? And she's like, actually, S level losers.
True.
Let me flex. And they don't believe her, and yeah, that's when we get the name drop.
Yep. I guess one. Let me check. Sacred Beast. The only other thing I've got is that when they're leaving the Beast People village, someone, I can't remember who, maybe Geese, maybe a Rudyard, says how there's this lore about how Saint Millis, the founder of Millis, cleaved the road out of the mountains and the forest with a single sword strike. I was like, oh, is that one of those cool like lore things where it's like, what, did that happen, or is this just like a folk tale thing? And I don't know, it's cool. That's it for the Beast
Eris
People.
wants to learn how to do it because she's super strong too.
True. She is very strong, actually. It is crazy. Millis, the final episode here. So I guess there's not much of a recap, so let me just go over it all. So Rudy and company arrive in Millishion, which is the capital of the holy country of Millis, which is on the Millis continent. It's a very pristine, clean, bright city, basically. Looks really good. Eris goes goblin slaying, and Ruja takes a free afternoon off. And Rudius, while they're doing that, sees a boy getting kidnapped and goes to save him. Yeah.
We got I don't know if goblins are always raping in these anime or if we actually got a Goblin Slayer reference.
I think it was a reference to. I don't know. I assumed it was a reference
because the book is older than Goblins, well, at least the Goblin Slayer anime. So I don't know if it was an anime reference. But yeah, maybe the Goblin Slayer manga or light novel or whatever the fuck it's based off is older than even Mushoku Tensei, because that's not an isekai. I at least don't think. It's just a Berserk clone.
I just know there's a anime of it, and the goblins are crazy.
And they rape in the first episode.
Crazy. But yep, Eris is goblin slaying during all these events. And she comes back at the end. Yeah. She's like, oh my god, my day was crazy. Can you believe it? But yeah, so Paul's Fitor rescue party are kidnapping those who were enslaved after the teleportation incident, which kind of makes sense if you're like teleported randomly. A lot of them will probably be enslaved. Then Paul and Rudy, they catch up, and then a Paul-Rudy argument ensues, and Norn comes and breaks it up. And then at the end, Eris consoles Rudy after Ruja tells her not to get involved in family squabbles, which was the name of the episode.
Yeah.
So what do you think about all this?
It's another weird rigid fucking rule over here. That's like another
old thing. Oh boy, there's another thing with Ruja here that I have to. Oh, let me write it down for next time. But there's some details here with the light novel. But anyway.
Okay. Cool. But yeah, that's something old people. That's something the mother says in Godfather about when her daughter's getting abused, and like one of the sons wants to get involved, and they're just like, don't get involved in other people's family business, even though it's like her daughter, but it's like they have their own family over there, and you're not allowed to get involved. Yeah. It's like a weird old timey conservative thing, I guess. Rudyard, a big conservative. That's why we hate him. He doesn't like feminism.
True.
Reflective of the show he's in, you know. But this was the thing from the EliteAri video. Outside of that, it was cool that it's happened and it's out of the way. Norn showing up and not recognize him, that was kind of a cool moment. The rest of it I didn't really care about at all, really.
What do you mean?
The bully kid coming back was kind of cool.
Yep.
What do you say?
What do you mean by the rest of it?
Like the argument? I don't know. I don't have anything really to say about it.
So I wonder if you were primed because of my video, but it is an argument that kind of comes out of nowhere. Like it's very interesting. I hated this argument the first time I watched it. I was like, I might be done with this show, depending on how it resolves. But it's been a while, and I read the light novel.
Because you were so against Paul, or
it's a very meta thing. I don't know if it's worth bringing up. A very meta thing about the narrative and what the author is intending and everything. I guess I can't even put myself in that mindset. What was it? Basically, the big what I thought was a big deal, which it isn't now in retrospect, was that in this argument, the big crux of the issue is that Rudius as a character didn't think to his family during the time he spent in the Demon Continent. And to Paul, that's like a big insult because it's like, that's all I've been focusing on this whole time is to try and reunite my family. That is everything to me. And he's insulted in that Rudius hasn't paid any attention to them at all. He hasn't even crossed their mind. And to me, that's literally that his family is the whole thing that I was thinking of this whole time. My first thought when he got teleported was like, what happened to Ghislaine? Is she okay? And I thought of that the whole time. Like, when are they going to bring back Ghislaine? What's happened to Ghislaine? Is she okay? But at the same time, I've been thinking how big was this teleportation incident? Like, what happened? Where is her family? Where is his family and everything? And to me, it felt like the author has been intentionally capping Rudius's character so that he doesn't think about it, so that I don't think about it, so that when this conversation comes up in this argument, I am artificially trying to put in Rudius's perspective, where I'm like, Rudius didn't think about it, I didn't think about it, am I a bad person? But I don't, now that I know in retrospect, and I made a video about it and everything, I don't think that's the point at all. I think it doesn't matter if Rudius, like, I don't think the author is trying to play some meta thing about me being kind of in the same perspective of Rudius. I think it's meant to point out Rudius' stagnation and his hypocrisy as a character, is what I think it is. And I made a video about it, but I don't know. That was my initial impression seeing this as an anime watcher. It really frustrated me, but I don't think that's the point at all now, going back to it.
Yeah, it's interesting because when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, of course he doesn't give a fuck about his dumb fake family and he likes Eris better. And I was like waiting for him to say that, like, yeah, I don't care about the family. You're not my dad. Die. But I don't think that's the intention either. I think it's supposed to be like, yeah, I guess he does. And he did fight for like his family to stay together when we had the whole second baby meme. But yeah, I was like, fuck you. Like, I guess this is me being like, you don't know your family anything pilled. But I was like, yeah, fuck off. If I like didn't actually think about you the whole time, well, that's your fault for not making enough of an impression. Go away.
Well, the thing is that Sylphie still made an impression, right? The first thing he brings up when Paul's like, did you ever think about the extent of this thing? He's like, oh my god, Sylphie, is she okay?
Yeah.
And then Paul's like, you thought of your friend who you met for like 2 years and not your family who you lived with forever. It's like, man.
Yeah.
Rudy is a interesting person.
But yeah, it's also like, well, clearly he was kind of busy, but like he was going to ride him this episode and then he like gets in trouble for not riding, which is kind of, I don't know. It is like, how, like you're completely on his side of like, we were dealing with other things. Of course he didn't think of them. Well, that's at least my impression. So I was like, yeah, fuck you, Paul. But obviously he has kind of a point, and if I recall correctly, that's the point in your video. So you probably
my
not gonna
point,
confirm or deny that.
Yeah, you can't watch it yet. We need to see how this develops, I guess. But yeah, this is a very like there's been a million YouTube videos made about this argument. It's probably the most discussed thing about Mushoku Tensei, besides the controversy of Rudius being like creepy or whatever.
Yeah, because the comments were very anti-Paul on that Crunchyroll episode. They're like, I fucking hate Paul.
Yeah, because I would assume from their perspective, Paul is being very harsh on his 10-year-old son or something. But the thing is that Rudy isn't a 10-year-old son.
Well, that's what they said. But I think it's just the emotion that I felt of like, well, fuck you. We were dealing with shit too.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. Don't understand.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, he's not understanding what's going on. He's not being empathetic to Rudius' situation as well. He's just seeing all the stuff he's gone through and saying, it looks like you just had fun while I was struggling this whole time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he kind of was having fun because he is telling the story like it's a lot of fun.
Yeah. But clearly all we've ever seen at this point is Rudius' perspective. We haven't seen anything of Paul.
Yeah. I think the Norn part is like the most emotionally impactful part where like it's a she, right? She shows up and doesn't even recognize them or anything.
Yeah, and she's like, oh, Norn, it's me, your brother. And yeah.
Yeah, because I knew that the argument was coming, and like obviously when we're setting up, I'm like, obviously this is the Paul episode. Well, I think I knew because I remember I remember seeing the clip of the kidnapping from your video, so I was like, oh, this is the one. So obviously when the mysterious figure jumps out in shadow, I'm like, oh, this is Paul, obviously. I wonder if I didn't remember that, if I would have picked it up there as well.
I certainly didn't the first time I was watching.
But yeah, bro.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, That's
Let
all
me
I
just
got to
think.
say about that.
So I guess another aspect they touch on is Rudy being the bully in this situation, where clearly he was bullied in their past life and he has a lot of trauma to do with bullying, and now he is beating on this man who has clearly been struggling a lot. Um, and everyone in the room is like looking away, kind of like averting their gaze, basically, as bullies would, or the people who support the bullying would do in their past life, who never would intervene to help it.
Yeah,
Um,
he flashes back to the classroom.
yeah, a lot of interesting dynamics. Um, and I guess even the adamant, how adamant Norn is to kind of defend Paul as well. Like,
Yeah,
it's
because
interesting.
clearly he's been good to her. Um,
Yeah.
I wonder how much I'm fucked up by like rolling my eyes whenever bullying is brought up. Because that I thought was like really corny and lame when they were like, "Oh, you're actually the bully this time," and I'm like, "Ugh, cringe."
So do you
Like
buy
I
like
memed
Rudius's
last time.
backstory? Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. But I memed last time about like bullying doesn't exist, Lamau. And obviously that's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not, and I'm kind of like annoyed by the concept of bullying and it ever being in a show. And so
That's
to like
insane.
have
That's one
this
of the
big
craziest things
moment
he's ever
where it's
said. Yeah.
yeah, and to have this big moment where it's like turned on its head and it's like, oh, actually you're the bully. I just thought it was like kind of lame all round. And it's like, so what? Who cares? Um, but it's like his trauma thing. I don't know. It's just completely unrelatable to me, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird thing that definitely did, and I can't explain it, but emotionally did hinder my like the resonation of the scene to me. Um,
Yeah.
but I guess we will follow this as we continue.
Indeed. Okay. So beyond this
Probably under
argument,
miscellaneous notes or something.
there's a few other things in this episode here which are interesting. One I thought was interesting is that when Paul is fighting Rudy, clearly he's very capable, and the other he's obviously very drunk as well, and he's fighting. He obviously beats Rudy there quite easily.
Yeah,
But he's running like a dog and everything, and he's basically like holding the sword in his mouth, and it's really interesting. And that's particularly a very North God style thing. I thought it's another showing of this North God style that maybe one day we'll see in grand display. Who knows? But very interesting.
yeah, it's like Zoro from One Piece, bro.
Perhaps. I don't know anything about One Piece. Actually, I do. I know 2 chapters. Another interesting aspect of this episode was how it started off. Rudy was talking about how he wants to mass produce the Rujoud figures to help their reputation.
Yeah,
So like his plan is like when they save someone, they'll give them a figure. Well, firstly they'll reveal that Rujoud is actually Rujoud, like a real dead end. And then they'll give him the figure and say, if you keep this figure, it'll make friends of all the superds you see or something. I think it's a really genius idea.
yeah.
Like if you
It's a
do get
marketing
accustomed to
scheme
things in media, for instance,
through
you will be
anime
less scared of them
figures.
in real life. Yeah.
Yeah,
That was the thing. Another interesting thing that they don't touch on in the light novel, maybe they'll touch on it next time, is Shiera and Viera. I don't know if they said the names yet. The lady wearing a bikini and the other girl hiding behind her in Paul's group that Rudy is like kind of paying attention to and
yeah.
accuses
I don't
Paul of
remember
like
the
sleeping
other
with.
girl.
Well,
Yeah,
basically they're two sisters, and there's I don't know if I want to say. We'll talk about it next time, but there is a reason she is dressed that way. A very interesting reason, but I'll say that for next time. But
okay.
yeah,
The it was an interesting thing, and I definitely think you pointed this out in the video, but it's like it's like him trying to hit him with the, well, you're probably just motivated by horniness, bro, and him being like, that's probably not true. He's probably not fucking this girl.
yeah, We'll have to
Yeah.
talk about this next time. But yeah, interesting. The argument. And then the aftermath, which is Rudy going back to his room and pacing around and trying to cope with the situation where he's talking about like, oh, it's not a big deal, we've fought before, and then he throws up. I'm like, man, yeah, that's really.
I guess this is another thing I thought was lame.
You've never
I'm
had
like,
that happen before, or not happen, but you can't empathize with something like that.
there was a dramatic moment in my life where right afterwards I had to shit,
Sure.
but not throw up, which is interesting. And it is the same thing, but that's not really, I don't know. Him being affected by, I guess I'm another like weird cornerstone for me might be him caring about his new family, like him caring about getting into a fight with Paul. I was like, why do you care about that? That's stupid. But obviously he does. And it makes a lot of sense that he does. I don't know. There's just something that doesn't resonate with me about it. But I also didn't like Eris comforting him afterwards because I'm like, Asuka shouldn't comfort him.
You gotta. That's Kyle. You've
That's
made
a
so many
meme thing, but
comparisons to
like,
Asuka that I think it's ridiculous. I just like.
oh, we can do the Ray Roxy ones if you want to. Actually, they don't fit. But like, it's not. It's again, it's like
Well, okay, stop,
the
right.
character I
What
want
what
her
what
to
is the
be.
similar? I want to know what is the similarity between Eris and Asuka. Why do you think they are the
They
same
both have
character? Go
red
ahead.
hair. They both show up and change the show. They're both
Wait,
tsunderes.
wait. They both
Uh,
show up and change the show. What do you mean by that?
they show up in a very different to what has come before, and they come in at similar times after the blue-haired girl
Like
has already
Rujud, right?
been established. No, not really. Well, Richard doesn't have red hair and isn't a girl and isn't in a love
No, no, we're
interest.
just talking about changing the show, right?
Well, no, that was one of the many things I
Oh
brought
yeah,
up.
but we're gonna go through them one by one, all right? So the first part you said is that
It's
she
so
shows up and
obvious. You
changes the
could.
show.
This is like the most obvious everything. Like everybody understands that the redhead tsundere shows up and it's all a big Asuka meme. The point is that I'm not actually making the point. Like Asuka never has a moment where she comforts Shinji. So that was like the meme point I was making there. But
Yeah,
it's not about that. It's like the way, I don't know. I don't like that character breaking like that. But it's not. I don't like her admitting that she likes him, and it's impossible because Asuka has moments like that where she does it, and I just ignore it and pretend it doesn't happen.
yeah.
Um, which is a big thing I talk about in the fourth movie, because they make it more explicit. Um, but it's the same as the stuff we were just bringing up. How it's like it completely makes sense, and it's just a emotional thing that I don't like.
No,
Um,
yeah. Well, I think I'm gonna introspect here for you a little bit. But I think you have a character in your mind that you want to be really good, and you want Eris to be this character. And when she's not being that character, you're kind of fighting it and being like, "I wish she
yeah,
was
that's
this way, but
exactly
she's
what
not."
it is.
But the thing is that you have seen all of Asuka's story, and you have seen like 5% of like what's going on here with like Eris, and even in the anime, it's crazy.
But she secretly likes him and she's got a heart of gold. I know where it's going, EliteAri, unless we're doing some big subversion things. All right, well, maybe we'll get there.
Sure.
She's going to be actually evil in the end. I already predicted it.
Hmm.
But yeah, she's fine. I'll like her again the most next time. Um,
Yeah.
I don't.
All right. Good.
I think Rigid's reaction to it might be the worst part of him, like smirking about it. It's just like I guess it just reinforces the thing I don't like, so it just annoys me a little bit more. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah. It's fine. It was even kind of cute. I don't know.
All right. So then, let's see what's next. We've already asked what's going to happen next, and you have some interesting ideas. I guess getting the timeline straight now, which is that there's a few things they say that kind of like flesh out what's going on. So by the time they're in Windport, which is where they meet Kishirika, they say it's been around a year since they been to the Demon Continent, basically. So that traveling from Rikarisu, or spending time in Rikarisu and traveling all the way to Windport was about a year. And then they spend 3 months in the Doldia Village. So by the end, when they're at the episode 16 here, Eris is around 13, Rudy is around 11, and it's been around a year and a half since the teleportation incident happened. So yeah.
Is he a
Timeline
dick
stuff.
work at 11?
Yeah, definitely. I guess it would depend on the person, but I think isn't that when puberty starts roughly?
I'm thinking like
And also
12
in
in my
their
head.
world, it's like 15 as an adult, so I imagine like it's probably
So puberty
slightly
happens
different.
earlier?
I would imagine.
Well, in Game of Thrones, you're an adult at 15 too, or whatever.
Yeah, but that's real
Puberty
life,
doesn't
right?
start early. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Um, I forgot completely that she was supposed to be older than him.
Yep. All right.
But yeah,
Light novel comparisons. I only have very few. Have we even talked about this yet? Tail Super. Rikarisu. I was looking this up on Reddit because I was looking into a bunch of details. But what I think is really interesting is how the name of Rikarisu is Rika and Risu, which is interesting in that it's Kishirika Kisharisu. And it's like, did the name of the city come from her name? A very interesting lore thing again. And what else?
she wasn't even
Kishirika.
in that city. She was in the other one. Crazy.
Yeah, what's going on?
I bet she's not allowed. If she showed up, they would all beat her up.
Yeah, maybe. Kishirika tells Rudy about the large pool of mana for Laplace. We already talked about that. That's it. The only other things is if you have any predictions, and yeah, I guess that's it really.
I
Anything
don't
else you want
remember
to
what I
say?
wanted to say about Lady Vengeance that I was supposed to remember.
Nice.
That was about the generic point.
Yep.
So I can delete that. But I'm pretty sure we did all my notes. Do you not have any miscellaneous notes, or?
No, I think I've said them all mainly throughout.
I think we've been on for like 3.5 hours, so this one did end up being longer, I think.
Yep. Was a more. I was gonna say there's more episodes, but there isn't. There's just more mini arcs, I guess. Last time there were 3, no 2. This time
And
there's
this
like
time there were
4.
3, and then the beginning of a 4th.
Yeah. It was interesting because I had the choice of ending it at the beast thing, and I also had the choice of thinking about adding this one because the volume.
Doing the poll thing is the right one.
Yeah, the volume 5 ends at the beast thing. So we went into no, volume 4, sorry. So we did go into volume 5 a little bit, but anyway. Crazy. What's gonna happen? Bro. What's next episode, Kyle? What are we gonna be seeing?
I don't even remember what the poll thing concluded out, right? He just left him and stuff.
Yeah, they like fought, and no one like protected Paul when he was lying on the ground, and Rudy just left, being like, when Paul was like, "Oh, what about Zenith? Your mom's gone," and
yeah.
Yep.
I guess we're going to get a follow-up on that. I guess I kind of thought they would just leave and like we'll meet him again like whenever we meet Roxy or some shit.
Yeah.
But that's probably not going to happen. They probably have to have another talk and be friends again.
True.
I mean, it would be cool, all the characters meeting Paul and their reactions to him. And obviously we're getting fleshed out about these sisters or something. Spoiled by EliteAri.
Yep. Well, the thing is, maybe it was in the light novel already. I just don't remember.
Maybe, yes. But yeah, I don't know fucking what the hell is
cool.
happening.
All right, I love it. We got
Laculai or whatever is gonna get come out of his fucking
Laplace.
He's coming out of his fucking
demon god Laplace,
human
number 4 of the
containment.
7th great powers, possibly.
Yes, he's coming out of his human containment wave. What do you call it when they're actually in the little pot?
I don't.
It's a
you're talking about Dragon Ball Z.
Yes.
I don't remember. I don't know.
Well, Pilaf is going to find him in the bottom of the ocean.
The Muffuba or something, right? Is that what he was?
Something like that.
Yeah.
But remember when you get the flashback and it's like the first King Piccolo attack and it's all the Master Roshi and the bros? It's fucking the coolest thing of all time. I wish Mushoku Tensei was more like Dragon Ball.
True. But yep, everyone listening, there's a season 2 coming soon. How exciting. Can't wait. And it's a light novel.
We gotta finish season 1 first.
True. Oh man, I'm excited for these next 2 episodes, Kyle. Let's see what we talk about next time.
We'll be back in like 2 weeks or something to talk about more generic nonsense.
I guess we should say that we're watching the remainder of the season, and then afterwards we're gonna watch the OVA, and it'll all be in one video next time. So yeah, I guess that's it. Anything else? Any last thoughts?
I like Mushoku Tensei, even though it might not have come across as such.
True, I like it as well. All right, see you next time.
Whenever. Discussing. Hey, don't
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sorry. Even though I'm trying to go to sleep soon. Yeah. I was just trying to discuss why it isn't in the upper echelon. That's a big word. Of stuff. That's
it's the first 2/3 of the first season of potentially a 4 or 5 season show. So we'll see. Potentially more. This has been very fast paced compared to the light novel as well, I guess. There's been 6 volumes we're going to cover by the end of season 1 out of 26. So who knows if they'll keep up this pace for future seasons. But yeah. Any final thoughts then, or can I end this amazing video?
No, I'm done this time, I promise.
All right, see you next time, whenever that is, guys.